Bro, ever since you transmigrated, all you gotta do is sweep the sect daily to level up. But there's one catch. You can't show off your cultivation until you're literally unstoppable. It's been 10 whole years since our boy landed here, and just a few broom swings every day had his cultivation skyrocketing. Just a year or two more, and this big shot will surely be invincible, right? Our boy thought living his quiet sect life was chill, until one day the Empress Sect Master got gravely injured, summoned everyone, and announced the sect's disbandment. That's when he actually panicked. He thought some huge calamity had struck. But nah, it was just a few measly demon venerables showing up. Empress Ling Chang then spilled the tea, recounting every detail from her ambush by several great demon venerables, her grave injuries, all the way to falling into a deep well. Everyone's faces got progressively uglier as they heard her story. They legit had no idea things were this bad. Watching the Tian Dao Sect disciples and elders all hang their heads in despair, our boy couldn't help but sneer inwardly. That's it? You're already shaking in your boots? Just look at these absolute clowns. Luo Zhao, the Tian Dao Sect's OG ancestor, would crawl right out of his grave just to slap some sense into you lot. Our boy didn't expect that the instant he finished that thought, Empress Ling Chang's expression would suddenly turn super weird. Who's talking? Empress Ling Chang instantly unleashed her Tian Di Jing divine sense, putting everything around her under her control. Bro, she found 0 suspicious individuals. Was that just my imagination? Empress Ling Chang muttered to herself. She didn't dig into it further, because the survival of the Tian Dao Sect disciples was, like, priority number 1. After a long, awkward silence, someone finally mustered up the courage. Empress, if we ditch, what's gonna happen to you and the elders? Someone has to step up and bear this burden. Eventually, her gaze was absolutely unwavering. We're staying to defend the Tian Dao Sect. We live and die with this sect. The average disciples can bail, but as the sect master and elders, it's our duty, our burden to carry. But the eyes of that very disciple who just spoke? They slowly hardened with resolve. I too will fight to protect our sect, live and die with the sect. Right after, a few more voices chimed in. We'll stand with the sect against the demon fiends. Against them. The Tian Dao Sect disciples instantly got hyped up. But you? You just stared at them like they were a bunch of absolute goofs, cheering for who knows what. Staying here is clearly just throwing away their lives, yet they're this excited? Bro, their brains must be malfunctioning. Even though our boy was thinking all that, he couldn't help but see these Tian Dao Sect disciples in a slightly different light. But little did our boy know, those very thoughts in his head couldn't escape Empress Ling Chang's notice. Even if Empress Ling Chang didn't get it, she still had to accept this wild truth. This has to be someone's inner monologue. And this mysterious person is definitely lurking within the Tian Dao Sect. But the very next second, she heard another sound booming directly into her head. Gotta say, Empress Ling Chang, this MILF's actually kinda hot. After 10 years chilling in the Tian Dao Sect, this was the first time our choreboy MC had ever actually seen her. Empress Ling Chang's figure? Legit on par with a supermodel. That backside, you just know she can pop out a whole squad of heirs. If he could just marry her and bring her home, bro, that would be peak bliss. Too bad it's not time yet. Just a few more years until I'm invincible. Then I'll snatch this beauty and make her my waifu. And bro, these words had Empress Ling Sheng absolutely livid. As an empress, she'd never once encountered such audacity in her entire life. Empress Ling Sheng suddenly froze, like she just hit the jackpot on some crucial intel. When she kept probing with her divine sense, it wasn't long before she found our boy. Yeah, there were plenty of randos in the crowd, but only our MC was rocking a broom. Empress Ling Sheng eyed him from a distance, thought for a bit, and decided not to expose him right away. She wanted to see what kind of Sigma moves he was planning. But when the Empress's gaze landed on our boy's eyes, oh, that was a whole different story. Hold up. Was that old hag just throwing shade my way? No way. Did she actually spot me? But our boy instantly yeeted that thought from his mind. A mere Heaven Emperor realm cultivator couldn't possibly detect him. Please. After overhearing his inner monologue, Empress Ling Sheng's stare didn't just linger. It sharpened, like a freshly honed blade. This left our protagonist even more confused. What in the actual cultivation world is wrong with this old hag? Why is she still staring at me? Bro, is she bugged or something? At this moment, Empress Ling Sheng was absolutely seething, her clenched fists creaking with fury. Even so, she could only barely hold back the inferno of rage brewing inside her. You absolute pervert! Just you wait till this is over, I'll make sure you get a proper face slapping you won't forget. Seconds turned into minutes, and after the initial adrenaline rush faded, the atmosphere once again settled into an uneasy silence. Even the creeping dread couldn't break the disciples' resolve. They were still willing to fight to the death for their beloved sect. Meanwhile, not far off, the Tian Dao Sect was engulfed in surging demonic energy. Within it stood 4 shadowy figures, None other than the demon lords Empress Ling Sheng had warned them about. Man, I can't believe the Dongshen continent is this broke. Being a local overlord in this dump actually sounds kinda sweet. After that, they burst into obnoxious laughter. And at the mere thought of Empress Ling Sheng, their eyes glinted with undeniable excitement. Soon after, the swirling demonic energy nearly swallowed the entire Tian Dao Sect whole. The four dudes were a bizarre mix. Tall, short, fat, thin. You name it, they had it. Our boy looked at these four, unable to help but click his tongue in disdain. Seriously, what a bunch of ugly, distorted freaks. Being ugly ain't your fault, but going out and traumatizing people? That's just wrong, bro. Naturally, their cultivation levels couldn't escape the sharp gaze of our protagonist. One early Heaven Emperor, and the other three are just peak half-emperors? With this pathetic level of power, they dare cause trouble at the Tian Dao Sect? Looks like that old hag Empress Ling Sheng isn't even that strong. Little did he know, his inner thoughts completely shattered Empress Ling Sheng's composure. However, our boy was wrong on one crucial point. If these four demon lords hadn't resorted to a sneak attack, they would have been absolutely no match for the Empress. In this wild world, cultivators are split into realms: body forging, chi gathering, foundation establishment, anti-evil, and mortal breaking. These are known as the 5 human Dao realms, basically the tutorial levels of cultivation. After the human Dao comes the imperial Dao: enlightenment, core formation, nascent soul, soul transformation, and void refinement. Then we hit the emperor Dao, which features realms like half-emperor, heaven emperor, unrivaled, and the ultimate supreme existence. And above even the Emperor Dao, we have the heavenly Dao realms: human immortal, mysterious immortal, golden immortal, red dust immortal, and saint. Only by ascending to the heavenly Dao can one truly achieve eternal life between heaven and earth. Talk about endgame content. At this exact moment, that demon stared at the Empress, his eyes practically oozing pure, unadulterated greed. Hey little beauty, if you play nice and keep us bros happy, maybe we'll consider letting these puny ants off the hook. Shut your foul mouth, Empress Ling Chang retorted without a shred of politeness. With her fate already a life-or-death situation, what was there to fear? Soon, many disciples also chimed in, showering them with curses. If you guys are so utterly clueless, then don't blame me for what happens next. The four men exchanged glances, instantly making their decision. Meanwhile, you, our protagonist, standing behind them, had long since run out of patience. Just fight already! Why so much yapping? Haven't you heard that villains die from talking too much? Why use a dragon-slaying blade to kill a chicken? Our boy slowly bent down, casually plucking a single blade of grass from the ground. He weighed the flimsy leaf in his hand for a moment, then nodded with a satisfied smirk. This much is plenty to kill them. Even an extra centimeter would be a waste. Empress Ling Chang, who had been watching you closely, stared with utter disbelief. Could you really be planning to take down 4 demonic cultivators with just a single blade of grass? You, our absolute unit, lightly flicked the blade of grass in your hand, seemingly without any power behind it. Thwip! A soft sound echoed as the blade of grass directly pierced the fat guy's head. A terrifying surge of energy still churned within his mind. A heavenly Emperor Realm cultivator, in your hands, was easier to kill than a mere chicken. What even is this guy? Unsurprisingly, the remaining 3 quickly met the exact same fate as their chubby companion. In the blink of an eye, those 4 previously arrogant villains were utterly annihilated. Besides you, the one who made the move, only Empress Ling Chang could hear the chaotic thoughts swirling in your mind. Because your presence was perfectly concealed, the disciples of Tian Dao Sect had no clue what just transpired. They were fully prepared to fight to the death. So why had those 4 demonic powerhouses suddenly gone still, their oppressive evil aura beginning to dissipate? Even so, they dared not let their guard down. In fact, they were even more terrified, certain that a far grander, more sinister plot was brewing. All the disciples stared intently at the gradually fading evil aura. As time ticked by, the evil aura completely vanished into thin air. But when they finally took in the scene before them, everyone absolutely refused to believe their own eyes. An elder slowly, shakily spoke up, declaring to everyone that those demonic cultivators were dead. As he spoke, his body still trembled. Just moments ago, their sect faced utter annihilation, and now, nothing. It was truly like a dream. A moment of stunned silence, then earth-shattering cheers erupted across Tian Dao Sect's main peak. But even through the elation, the terrifying fear they had just faced still echoed in their hearts. You watched their reactions, sighing inwardly. Why are they crying already? It wasn't some heavenly providence that saved you all. It was clearly me. Empress Ling Chang said nothing, but the turbulent waves of terror churning in her heart were clearly reflected in her wavering gaze. Her eyes were fixed on you, filled with pure horror. She understood, with chilling clarity, that the death of those 4 demon heads was all thanks to your casual flick of a grass blade. A single blade of grass, slaying 1 heavenly emperor and 3 half-emperors. Just what kind of monstrous existence were you? Empress Ling Chang could now unequivocally confirm it. You were undoubtedly a hidden, peerless powerhouse, whose terrifying might far exceeded the wildest imaginations of mortals. Such an existence. What in the grand Tao were you doing at Tian Dao Sect? Pondering it over and over, Empress Ling Chang still couldn't grasp it. But no matter what, Tian Dao Sect was safe and sound, and that was all that mattered. As for you, our stone... But suddenly, our boy's face completely changed. As expected, the system's punishment never misses. Detecting host revealing strength. Stripping speaking rights for 8 hours. Dude also let out a sigh of relief. Seriously, who even saw me? After a good while, everyone from the Tian Dao Sect finally snapped out of it. That's when Empress Ling Shuang finally spoke up. The Tian Dao Sect's crisis is resolved. You may all leave now. Our dude just wanted to bounce from this drama-filled place ASAP. But for some reason, he kept feeling like a pair of eyes was peeking at him from the shadows. He barely turned around, before he could even do anything, when suddenly Empress Ling Shuang's voice rang out from behind him. You, stay. Our boy unconsciously froze, thinking, no way she's calling me, right? A mere chore boy like me? How could I possibly get the dignified empress to personally ask me to stay? Having figured it out, our dude continued to ignore her and walked forward. Hey, you! The chore boy sweeping the yard. Am I not talking to you? Our boy immediately froze. Unable to open his mouth, he could only stare at Empress Ling Shuang with a puzzled gaze. You, come here. Hearing the command, he slowly walked over to Empress Ling Shuang's side. Since they were super close now, Empress Ling Shuang's figure was completely within his line of sight. Damn, her figure is absolutely perfect. Hearing his inner thoughts, Empress Ling Shuang immediately knew what he was thinking. Her face flushed slightly. Pervert! But Empress Ling Shuang knew the terrifying extent of his strength, so she naturally didn't dare to strike, and since he had no intention of revealing his true power, she obviously wouldn't expose him. What is your name? Empress Ling Shuang had just casually asked, but these words landed in our boy's ears in a whole different way. Oh boy, here we go. First my name, then my birth date. Next she'll ask if I own a house and a car, and then she'll offer herself in repayment. HMPH? This old hag clearly has her eyes on my body. Definitely some ulterior motives. Hearing his inner thoughts, Empress Ling Shuang was suddenly startled. She had only wanted to make some small talk and get to know him a little. Who knew he'd misunderstand it that badly? In this Dongshen continent, countless people were obsessed with Ling Shuang. Not only did she possess terrifying strength, but she was also known as the #1 beauty of the Dongshen continent. Countless heavenly prodigies knelt at her feet, just hoping to catch her eye. You can go now. After calming herself, Empress Ling Shuang said coldly. She didn't dare to speak another word to him. Any more talking, and he'd probably start naming their future kids. After our boy left, Empress Ling Shuang stood still for a long time. Suddenly, her eyes flashed as she sensed his location, and her figure instantly vanished. Just as Empress Ling Shuang appeared in the Haoshan, she immediately heard our boy complaining. Every other word, old hag. She really wanted to rush down and fight him to the death. In the straw hut below, our boy suddenly opened his eyes. It was no exaggeration to say that as long as he wished, every movement within the entire Tian Dao Sect could not escape his notice. This woman is seriously like chewing gum stuck to your shoe, can't get rid of her. Empress Ling Shuang wasn't surprised that he had discovered her, but this was definitely the first time she'd ever heard herself described like that. Back in the Dongshen continent, countless men would fight each other just to curry her favor, so why, when it came to him, was she suddenly chewing gum on a dog's fur? Since she'd been found out, Empress Ling Shuang simply decided not to hide anymore and landed right in front of the straw hut. Our boy could only open the door and step out, instantly feigning surprise. He originally wanted to speak, but because of the system's punishment, he couldn't utter a single word, only stammering out gestures. Seeing him like that, Empress Ling Shuang was a little surprised. Are you mute? Our boy immediately cursed back in his heart. She's the mute one. Her whole family is mute. I'm just temporarily unable to speak, you idiot. Hearing his inner thoughts, Empress Ling Shuang roughly understood that he didn't want to attract attention from anyone. Before she could say anything, he pulled out some paper and a pen and wrote, I'm only in the body tempering stage, so I can't achieve Anidia yet. I need to go cook. Does Empress have something important? The message of please leave in his words was crystal clear, but Empress Ling Shuang seemed to be completely missing the point. You go do your work, I'll just wait here. But just as you were about to make your exit, Empress Ling Kang suddenly felt the world tilt, on the verge of collapsing. You didn't dare hesitate, rushing forward to catch Empress Ling Kang. Only then did you realize Empress Ling Kang's previous injuries were insanely severe, now flaring up. At this moment, Empress Ling Kang was drenched in sweat, her clothes completely soaked. At such close proximity you couldn't help but gulp. You quickly turned your face away, not daring to look further, afraid you'd truly do something beastly. Her condition was extremely dangerous. If not handled promptly, her life could truly be at stake. Before, you'd casually picked up some healing arts. Now, in this critical situation, you could only offend her. You carried Empress Ling Kang, a scene that would truly make anyone's blood boil. If it were anyone else, they'd have long lost control. He actually exposed me! Empress Ling Kang's mind was a complete blank. She struggled to stand, but before she could, you pushed her back down. You quickly scribbled a few words. Don't want to die? Then lie still and don't move. Looking back at you, your face now devoid of any previous gentleness. Injured? And still won't lie still? Truly troublesome women. Don't you dare die in my house. Little did you know, Empress Ling Kang could hear your inner thoughts, and an intense feeling of grievance instantly flooded her mind. Initially, she tried to hold back her tears, but now they poured out like a broken dam. Her pear blossom-like tearful appearance made one feel uneasy. You, beside her, were so flustered you scratched your head. What's with the crying? I didn't even bully her. Unable to figure it out, you simply stopped thinking. If this dragged on, the backlash of the inner demon deeply permeating her flesh and blood would be truly troublesome. Thus, you took action, tapping Empress Ling Kang's acupoints. Empress Ling Kang's body trembled slightly, but you disregarded everything. Your 2 fingers continuously moved across her acupoints, and the Empress's beautiful face flushed crimson. Although she clearly knew you were doing this to help her, she still couldn't help but feel embarrassed. After all, she was still pure, never having been touched by a man like this. A long while later, you finally stopped, letting out a sigh. Finally, it's suppressed. If only I had a 9 revolutions clear heart pill. Just swallow it and it would be done. No need for all this trouble. Even now, you still thought your identity was well hidden, unaware that Empress Ling Kang had long since seen through you. But even so, Empress Ling Kang was profoundly shocked. A fatal injury? Easily suppressed just by using acupoint tapping techniques? Such a method was truly unheard of. The 2 of you looked straight into each other's eyes, and a strange spark suddenly ignited. Empress Ling Kang's face was now so red it looked like it was about to bleed. What happened today must not be known by a third person. Otherwise, I'll make sure you regret it. She tried her best to maintain her dignity, but in your eyes, it was nothing but the shy appearance of a young maiden. What's with the pretense? Wait. Didn't I just hear your inner thoughts when I was crying? Empress Ling Kang gritted her teeth and endured it. Then, you wrote that you had to go cook, turned, and left. After finishing cooking, you paid no mind to Empress Ling Kang's state, quickly tidied up, and sat down to eat. Meanwhile, Empress Ling Kang finally returned to normal, reverting to her usual cold, high and mighty demeanor. But her mind quickly underwent a change, watching you eat with increasing relish, making Ling Changnu Di, who hasn't touched a bite in 1,000 years, suddenly get hit with the munchies. But one look at our boy, and she knew her lingering was pointless. So Ling Changnu Di stood up and declared, I have pressing matters, I shall depart now, and our boy's heart did a little jig. Finally, this old broad is piecing out. Bro was exhausted pretending all day. Our boy nodded so fast his head almost fell off, terrified Ling Changnu Di would change her mind. Then she drops, I'll be back tomorrow. Before our boy could even process it, she zipped away, transforming into a streak of light. This old broad is seriously sticking to me, and it's definitely not for good reasons. If she's offering to repay me with that, I guess it's not the worst idea. But women only slow down the blade I'm about to pull. After mulling it over, our boy let out a heavy sigh. Guess he'll just have to play it by ear. By now, Ling Changnu Di was miles away. Hearing thoughts usually has a strict range, so why could she still pick up our boy's inner monologue? Meanwhile, over with Zhen Ren Zhang Yuan, he was chilling in Nan Ma Dao Ren's cave abode. These 2 are basically bros for life, so their relationship is tighter than a cultivation technique scroll. Junior brother? Absolutely not. If we even think about doing that, one slip-up and my Tian Dao Sect will be yeeted into oblivion. This whole mess started when Ling Changnu Di got clapped, causing her cultivation to plummet to the Emperor realm. The 4 demonic big shots were taken care of. But if other sects catch wind of Ling Changnu Di's realm drop, they're gonna pounce like hungry wolves. Zhen Ren Zhang Yuan racked his brain until it was practically smooth, but found no other path for Tian Dao Sect. Desperate times, desperate measures. He had no choice but to use the forbidden technique, blood fusion great method, to absorb a blood demon, and forcibly boost his cultivation to the Emperor realm. This blood demon was none other than the monstrous heavenly Emperor realm beast, suppressed 800 years ago by Ling Changnu Di herself, leading the Tian Dao Sect's top-tier cultivators. Zhen Ren Zhang Yuan let out a deep sigh. Bro wasn't oblivious. He knew the forbidden technique came with insane risks. The failure rate was through the roof. And even if he succeeded, he'd be living in eternal torment afterward. Nanma Daoren tried to open his mouth to protest, but our boy Zhang Yuan raised a hand, cutting him off. Senior brother, spare your breath. Tian Dao Sect needs a protector. And that's final. Witnessing his resolve, Nanma Daoren could only let out a resigned sigh. 8 grueling hours later, our boy finally regained his ability to speak. Our boy was chilling by the pond, fishing rod in hand. His usual routine. Morning chores for the sect, then an afternoon of fishing. But today, thanks to Ling Chengnu Di, his mood was completely shot, so he had to push his fishing to the evening. But then, a jolt. Our boy suddenly remembered Ling Chengnu Di's parting shot. "I'll be back tomorrow." Instantly, his peace of mind shattered. And even his fishing rod started vibrating like crazy. Is our boy seriously worried Ling Chengnu Di will see right through his whole act? If he accidentally flexes his true cultivation, bro has no clue how the system's gonna clap back. What's a guy supposed to do? Is this just the curse of being an impossibly handsome, low-key Sigma Master? Oh right, Da Huang's been MIA for half a month. Who knows what mischief that dog's gotten into? Just mentioning Da Huang, a rare smile tugged at the corner of our boy's lips. It was back when our boy first transmigrated to this world. He stumbled upon a little stray dog at the mountain's base. Seeing its lonely, pathetic state, much like his own at the time, our boy took it in. 1 man and 1 dog, companions for 10 whole years. But the Da Huang, our boy just fondly remembered? Bro is currently stirring up monstrous 10,000 Zhang waves in the East Sea. His Dharma body looked like it could hold up the heavens and stomp on the earth. With one mighty paw, it casually crushed a true dragon. The heavens unleashed thunder and lightning. But Da Huang? Still standing there, like an absolute unit. Next morning, our boy's up at the crack of dawn, quick rinse, and straight to his daily grind. Weeding the medicinal field. Peak cultivation life, right? System announcement. Congrats, host. You've completed your weeding quest. Reward? The legendary Kaio Zi Jianzhu. This isn't just any sword art, folks. This is the grass blade from yesterday that could slice through the sun, moon, and stars. Our MC just casually glances at it twice, then yeets the Kao Zi Jianzhu straight back into his system storage. Sigma move. Suddenly, your face twists into a weird expression. Why? Because you just felt Empress Ling Cheng's aura. Oh, here we go. Bro, why is this old hag acting like an unkillable cockroach? Seriously, showing up this early? What a buzzkill. Empress Ling Cheng, still en route, somehow picked up on your inner monologue, and her temper immediately went from 0 to 100. But by the time she actually showed up, our guy had already waltzed right out of the medicinal field. Oh, Empress Nudi, what brings you here so early? Our boy forces a smile, greeting her. But even though he's trying to hide it, that impatience is practically screaming. Empress Ling Cheng shot back. Ice cold, I show up when I want to show up. You think I need your permission, kid? Our boy curses silently. Look at this high and mighty act. What's with all this arrogance? It's seriously getting on my nerves. Wasn't it you who was crying in front of me not too long ago? Piss me off again, and I'll break out the whip. Bet. Empress Ling Cheng froze. Immediately, a mix of shame and rage boiled within her. She never imagined she'd face such a day. But the terrifying truth was, with his power, he absolutely could make it happen. Just thinking about that scene, Empress Ling Cheng's face instantly went crimson. Oops. She couldn't fathom why, after tens of thousands of years of cultivating a clear mind and abstaining from desires, her Dao heart was suddenly wavering right now. Our boy wanted zero part of this drama, so he pulled out the oldest excuse in the book. Yeah, I gotta go water my plants. My medicinal plants. If you've got nothing better to do, maybe you should just head back and chill, you suggest. But Empress Ling Cheng? Nah, she was dead set on sticking around and messing with you. I'll help you take care of them, she said. Wait, did you just hear that right? Did this empress just offer to weed? A literal empress? Wanting to fight you for menial chores? Bro, how could you possibly agree to that clown show? Caring for that medicinal field? That's a daily system quest, fam. If Empress Ling Cheng does your chores for you, what are you gonna get, heir? No reward, no gains. Yep, called it. Women really are nothing but roadblocks on my path to peak cultivation. And just like that, Empress Ling Cheng caught those inner thoughts again. Her good intentions, reduced to heartless dog guts, by this ungrateful trash. After muttering under her breath, she suddenly remembered something important. But wait, where did you even learn that insane medical technique? That technique? It's basically a supreme medicinal Dao divine art. Unless your medicinal talent is off the charts, successfully cultivating it is almost impossible. You just casually mention you dabbled in it because Da Huang kept getting sick? Are you for real? Who exactly is this Da Huang you speak of? Oh, Dai Huang? Just my dog. Ran off somewhere recently, haven't seen him since. Empress Ling Chang was utterly speechless. Fine, she thought. Everyone's got their secrets. Figuring you just weren't in the mood to spill? She dropped it. The two of them just stared at each other, realizing there was absolutely nothing left to say. Awkward. Our girl Ling Chang Empress had no choice but to turn and peace out. Not long after she left, you suddenly heard a dog barking at the gate. Looked up, and who do we have? Only Dai Huang, who'd been MIA for days. Yo, this goofball actually remembered how to get back? Dao Huang came trotting over, tail wagging like crazy, dropping something at your feet like it just found the Holy Grail. What did this absolute unit bring back? Only Ao Yi, the third crown prince of the East Sea Dragon clan. Turns out, while this Qinglong was splashing around in the water, he ran right into Dao Huang. Ao Yi probably thought this was just some stray dog with decent cultivation, but nah, Dao Huang went ahead and manifested its Dharma aspect, straight up curb stomping the third crown prince. And guess what? The East Sea's turtle prime minister was also there. That dude was an invincible level powerhouse. Literally a whole grand realm above the heavenly emperor himself. But even that guy just got trampled under Dai Huang's paw, forced to drag Ao Yi back here. At this point, Ao Yi finally managed to wiggle free from Dao Huang's jaws. Our boy wanted to thrash around, but found himself suppressed by some weird-ass power. Couldn't even transform into his true dragon form. Why'd you bring back this mud skipper? Your words? Straight up a steel knife piercing Ao Yi's heart. The third crown prince of the East Sea Dragon clan had been through divine prisons, and no one dared call him that. But to you, this half-step Emperor Realm Dragon was truly nothing more than a glorified mud skipper. Dao Huang, still not giving up, kept nudging Ao Yi towards you with its snout. Sighing, you reluctantly picked up Ao Yi, then gave Dao Huang a well-deserved head pat. Despite his absolute fury, Ao Yi also realized this peerless beast, Dao Huang, was acting like a total good boy in front of you. Ao Yi couldn't help but wonder, bro, just who are you? This thing is too small. Wouldn't even be a snack between my teeth. Just toss it into the pond for now, raise it up a bit, and watch out. Don't let that old turtle in there gobble it up. I ain't taking responsibility. Hearing that, Ao Yi's rage was truly uncontrollable. An old turtle eating a true dragon? This guy just went ahead and yeeted Ao Yi into the pond. Meanwhile, Zhang Yuan, True Immortal, and Nan Ma Taoist had made their way inside the demon-suppressing pagoda. After a moment of hesitation, our man finally steeled his resolve. Nan Ma Taoist immediately got the memo. He then borrowed the power of the demon-suppressing pagoda, instantly trapping the Shui Mo. As for Zhang Yuan, True Immortal, he unleashed his grand blood fusion technique. Strands of blood qi were ripped from the Shui Mo's body, flowing into Zhang Yuan, True Immortal, filling every single cell with immense power. The whole process was smooth as butter. The Shui Mo didn't even get a chance to struggle. Once done, Zhang Yuan, True Immortal glanced at the demon-suppressing pagoda, and a chilling glint of bloodlust flashed in his eyes. Right after Zhang Yuan, True Immortal, and his crew dipped, a red streak of light burst out from the demon-suppressing pagoda. Turns out, it was the Zhu Mo's original divine soul. 800 years. It's been 800 years. I'm finally free. Ling Chang Empress, just you wait. Once I recover my strength, I'll make you my personal plaything. Only then can I get revenge for these 800 years of suppression. And that punk, Zhang Yuan, did he really think my power was that easy to snatch? Right now, the Shui Mo is just a divine soul, so he needs a host stat. His target? Hao Shan. And guess what? You're his prime body-snatching candidate. Get ready to receive my grace. Meanwhile, you're just chilling by the pond, casually petting Dai Huang, who's snoozing beside you. Dao Huang, who was deep in dreamland, suddenly snapped its eyes open. And you? You couldn't be bothered with the Shui Mo. But who knew this clown would come courting death on his own? Watching the Shui Mo rush towards you, you let out a cold snort, flicked a finger, and the void itself rippled. The entire space is locked down by our boy, rendering Shui Mo's struggles completely useless. The excitement in Shui Mo's eyes instantly morphed into sheer terror. What kind of power can actually seal the soul of an emperor-level expert? Could it be some terrifying powerhouse from the Heaven Dao martial realm? Just thinking about it, Shui Mo felt his soul almost shatter from fear. The Heaven Dao martial realm is truly like a realm of gods. Not to mention the East Divine Continent, it's an unreachable existence even across the entire world. How on earth did this dude end up provoking such a terrifying existence? After being sealed for a grueling 8,000 years, he barely escaped. He just wanted to quietly find the weakest, easiest target to body snatch and recover. But who knew he'd run into this guy? Is this guy for real? Our boy thought. A mere rat like you dares to dream of body snatching me? The MC clearly couldn't care less about Zhu Mo's feelings. The MC's eyes turned icy, and the sealing power around Shui Mo suddenly intensified. Shui Mo felt the chilling grip of death. But just then, the The MC noticed Da Huang barking and wagging its tail around the demon. "You want to keep him?" the MC asked. Da Huang seemed to understand, nodding its head furiously. It even rubbed against the MC. "Well, if Da Huang likes this little toy, then so be it." The MC's divine sense stirred, and the sealing power was instantly lifted. Shuma felt a surge of relief from escaping death, but then he remembered. His survival was all thanks to a dog's intervention. "Since Da Huang begged for you, I'll give you a chance to live. From now on, you'll follow him." Hearing that, Shui Mo nearly exploded from pure indignation. A true expert can endure many things, but this humiliation was just too much. But even with those thoughts raging, Shui Mo dared not utter a single word, because this absolute unit had genuinely scared him witless. Just then, the previously tranquil sky suddenly erupted with winds and clouds, as lightning rumbled and flashed within the thick, dark storm clouds. Who the heck is undergoing a heavenly tribulation? This terrifying tribulation had already alarmed the entire sect. Such a massive disturbance? What on earth was this guy doing? Only Ling Kang Empress understood that this commotion could only be caused by our boy. Just as she was about to investigate, the terrifying heavenly tribulation suddenly vanished. Turns out, our boy had casually created a new body for Shui Mo, unintentionally violating the laws of heaven and earth. Realizing things were getting out of hand, he quickly cast a spell to disperse it. The MC let out a cold snort, a hint of sarcasm playing on his lips, and sure enough, the system's voice echoed in his ear. Host detected exposing strength. Punishment. Right middle finger activity revoked for 3 hours. Hearing that, our boy breathed a sigh of relief. Meanwhile, Shui Mo, who had just acquired his new dog body, stood beside him, absolutely dumbfounded. Right after, Ling Kang Empress was already standing in the MC's courtyard. "Did something happen just now?" she asked. The MC pondered for a moment, then looked up at Ling Kang Empress. "Nah, nothing," he replied. Ling Kang Empress didn't intend to probe further, simply murmuring, "That's good then. Next, go cook." Just then, the Empress noticed 2 more dogs in the MC's courtyard. Wait, why does this dog feel so... Even if you changed Shui Mo's appearance, a sliver of his old aura still lingered. Enemies meet, and eyes went crimson. Shui Mo couldn't even speak human at this point, just stared Ling Kang Nudi down, barking like a mad dog. Just a single glance from our boy. And why is this dog so utterly furious? As an emperor, how could one stoop to bickering with a mere dog? Not long after, you finished cooking. This time, you even took out a bowl and chopsticks, serving it up for Ling Kang Nudi. A small smile bloomed at the corner of Ling Kang Nudi's lips. At this moment, she truly looked like a maiden in love. But your next move shattered her entire world. After serving yourself a bowl, you then poured the rest of the soup for the earthen dog named Da Huang, muttering and chatting with Da Huang as if it were your true companion. Da Huang happily ran circles around you, a man and his dog, creating a surprisingly harmonious scene. Meanwhile, Ling Kang Nudi was not having a good time. Her entire body was trembling. Clearly, she had been deluding herself. This entire meal was cooked for that dog, Da Huang. At this point, tears were welling up in Ling Kang Nudi's eyes like a literal flood, threatening to burst at any second. You turned your head to see her still standing there, dumbfounded. "Bro, why aren't you eating? There's so much good stuff in here." After saying that, you just started eating yourself. Ling Kang Nudi, seeing your seemingly sincere gaze, gently took a bite. For the past 10 years, when you weren't busy planting trees or picking flowers, cooking had been your greatest hobby. As an elite idler, how could you not have some hidden talent? After tasting it, a look of pure enjoyment spread across Ling Kang Nudi's face. The abundant energy within that bowl of soup continuously shook her to her core. She vaguely felt that her fallen cultivation realm seemed to be showing signs of recovery. A true great power is indeed a great power. Ling Kang Nudi decided then and there that no matter what, she absolutely had to come eat this meal again in the future. All for the sake of the Tian Dao Sect, of course. After eating, Ling Kang Nudi simply sat there, not making a single move. Seeing this, you immediately got annoyed. "Bro, I cooked for you, and now I gotta clean up too?" Feeling disgruntled, an idea popped into your head. "Go wash the pots." That single sentence left Ling Kang Nudi completely stunned. She's an empress, the old ancestor of the Tian Dao Sect, and this disrespectful punk just told her to go wash pots? She originally intended to refuse, but for some reason, when she opened her mouth, she just said, "All right." Watching her graceful figure walk into the kitchen, a thought couldn't help but rise in your heart. An empress washing pots? Now that's kinda hot. At this moment, due to the previous heavenly lightning, quite a few Tian Dao Sect disciples had rushed over. You were about to weed your medicine field when your eyes suddenly turned cold. You definitely didn't think they were here to be polite guests, did you? Not long after, That group landed right in front of your door, not bothering to knock, and simply barged straight in. You menial servant. The Tian Dao Sect's holy son has arrived. Why aren't you out here to greet him? One man and one dog face down over 100 people. You said impatiently, "Speak if you have business, otherwise scram. I still have to weed." That guy couldn't believe a mere menial servant dared to be so arrogant. Instinctively, he wanted to unleash his fury and teach you a lesson. But just then, Ling Kang Nu Di walked out of the kitchen, still holding a pot in her hand. This scene was the most unbelievable thing the Tian Dao Sect disciples had ever witnessed. They even doubted their own eyes. This is the Ling Kang Nu Di, the one busy with 1,000 tasks, the noble and pure ice fairy in everyone's hearts. Doing this? Ling Kang Nu Di looked incredibly awkward, but she quickly regained her composure. I mean, her image is already shattered, so what's a little pot scrubbing gonna hurt? Just then, Qi Si stepped forward, first saluting Ling Kang Nu Di, then opening his mouth to ask, "Disciple has one thing I don't understand. Why does the Empress value this mere chore boy so much?" Normally, this dude wouldn't even dare speak to Ling Kang Nu Di like that, but right now, everyone felt like the sky was falling, so nobody was really paying attention anymore. Ling Kang Nu Di slightly frowned, her icy gaze sweeping over him. Audacious! When did my affairs become something for you to question? Qi Si stood frozen on the spot. Gotta say, Ling Kang Nu Di, this woman really has a talent for pissing people off. Suddenly, you sensed a hint of killing intent from Qi Si. Well, now there's no other choice. If you let this guy go back alive, he'll definitely cause endless trouble later. For the sake of your future peaceful life, Qi Si had to be taken care of. Dao Huang, understanding your intent, immediately charged forward, biting straight into Qi Si's leg. Before he could even react, his left leg was bitten clean off by De Huang, blood gushing like a spring. A dignified saint son of the Tian Dao Sect just had his leg bitten off by a mutt? If they hadn't seen it with their own eyes, they absolutely wouldn't believe it. The disciples all stared at Dao Huang, hoping to find something unusual about it, but they were destined to be disappointed. No matter how hard they looked, it really was just a mutt. Thanks to your methods, even the Empress herself couldn't detect a thing. The disciples could only shift their attention back to Qi Si, wondering, is this Saint San just a fraud? Ling Kang Nu Di watched this scene, a flicker of doubt flashing in her eyes. Even if she couldn't sense you making a move, Ling Kang Nu Di understood that this matter was probably connected to you. But so what if he's a saint's son? Ling Kang Nu Di didn't care at all, especially not about someone needlessly provoking a fellow disciple. Is that the kind of demeanor a saint's son of the Tian Dao Sect should have? Being sent to face the wall for 3 months would already be a lenient punishment, even if they were unwilling. Who among them dared defy Ling Kang Nu Di's command? We obey the Empress's decree. After that, no one dared to delay, scrambling to leave. And just like that, the chaotic scene came to an end. What in the world just happened? Ling Kang Nu Di was genuinely confused. Fearing exposure, you hastily turned and left, wondering to yourself, did this old woman figure something out? With her half-step Emperor Realm cultivation, there's no way she could have detected Dao Huang's move. Right? After spending some time by your side, Ling Kang Nu Di had clearly grown accustomed to this kind of life. For a fleeting moment, she even thought that if things continued like this, it might not be so bad after all. Leisurely strolling in the yard, Ling Kang Nu Di walked over to Dao Huang. Driven by curiosity, she sat down and meticulously observed De Huang. But no matter how closely she looked, she couldn't find anything special about it. No way this is just some regular dirt dog, right? Our Empress, Ling Xiang NVD, reached out with her delicate hand and gently caressed Dao Huang. And just like that, Dao Huang hopped right into her embrace. Ling Xiang NVD was momentarily taken aback, but then just kinda melted and accepted it. You, our MC, then stepped out and saw the whole thing. This absolute human weapon was out to steal souls, and seriously, if she didn't have at least 8 kids, it'd be a tragedy. With a figure like that, it's like, let go of the dog! Whatever you've got, bring it on me! Ling Xiang NVD immediately paused, looked up, and wouldn't you know it, there you were, absolutely glued to her. Instantly, Ling Xiang NVD was a mix of embarrassment and rage, her face flushing crimson from her cheeks all the way down her neck. Just then, a thunderous bell suddenly rang out from Tian Dao Zong's Chu Feng, tolling a full 12 times. What major event just went down? Ling Xiang NVD, her mind now far from her embarrassment, muttered to herself, there's a grand formation on Tian Dao Zong's Chu Feng. Unless something critically important happens, those bells would never ring 12 times. As Ling Xiang NVD was about to jet, she suddenly remembered you, and was like, fine, you're coming with me. Our boy, you really didn't want to get mixed up in Tian Dao Zong's drama. But just as you were about to decline, a devious thought sparked. So you put on your best troubled face, stuttering, going is fine, but Ling Xiang NVD, a pro at reading the room, played along and asked. I mean, if she didn't, you wouldn't know how to keep up the charade. I've only got body tempering cultivation, Empress. I literally can't fly. So, I guess, you'll have to carry me, right? And with that body, a tight hug would be super comfy. Just say, Pollen. Ling Xiang NV Dai, of course, saw right through your little scheme. She just stared at you coldly and uttered one word. Scram! Then she just grabbed you and vanished. Meanwhile, back in Tian Dao Sect's Chu Feng, the main hall was packed with folks from Taiyi Men, one of the 5 big-shot sects of Dongshen continent. Their relationship with Tian Dao Sect was already spicy, and word on the street was Ling Xiang NVD got injured and dropped out of the Dijing. So, they were basically here to snoop. Sitting at the head was a scrawny old dude, none other than revered Qing He from Taiyi Men. Revered Qing. He just couldn't hold it in, asking again, are you absolutely sure she really dropped from the Dijing? Yu Hangxian Ren, hearing this, sighed internally and replied, old ancestor, relax. I've got solid intel. This wasn't the first, second, or even third time Qing he had asked the same darn question. Back in the day, Ling Xiang NVD single-handedly stomped all over Taiyi Men, utterly crushing revered Qing He and leaving him with some serious cultivation PTSD. Master, there's something I just have to say, piped up Chen Mingxiao, Taiyi Men's saint's son, who was sitting at the very end, the only disciple allowed to tag along. As cultivators, we should be singularly focused on seeking the Grand Dao. Tian Dao Sect and Taiyi Men are practically neighbors, so why all the fighting and killing? Wouldn't it be way better to just chill and get along? Yu Hangxianren's face was practically green with rage. This disciple of his, with his insane talent and pure heart, was truly a top-tier genius with nothing to fault. But there was just one major problem. His mindset was totally cooked. He'd open his mouth and it was all harmony this and peace that. Just then, Tian Dao Sect's sect master, Zhang Yuanzhenren, strutted into the grand hall, elders in tow. Why aren't you all busy cultivating instead of showing up at my Tian Dao Sect? Yu Hangxianren calmly shot back. Fellow Taoist Zhang Yuan, no need to be so prickly right off the bat. We actually came to congratulate Tian Dao Sect this time. Tian Dao Sect successfully eradicated the demonic threat. Isn't that something worth celebrating? These 1,000-year-old cultivators are all sly old foxes, man. And just as expected, Ling Xiang NV. Just then, Ling Kang Empress arrived at the gates, with our boy reluctantly trailing behind her. Didn't I already say? The Taiyi sect is forbidden from stepping even half a pace into the Heavenly Dao Sect, have you all forgotten? Upon their entrance, Zhang Yuan, true immortal, and the elders of the Heavenly Dao Sect all bowed in unison to welcome the Empress. Facing this old acquaintance he hadn't seen in 800 years, Qing He Venerable bowed his head, avoiding Ling Kang Empress's gaze, not daring to look her in the eye. Qing He, after all these years, your guts have certainly grown, haven't they? Hearing that, Qing He Venerable's bitter expression deepened even further. This is just a misunderstanding. At this point, the old man didn't even want to stay in the Heavenly Dao Sect for another second. Seeing this, Yu Hong True Immortal felt utterly helpless. They were both Heavenly Emperor Realm cultivators, so why was the gap so massive? He immediately sent a sound transmission. Qing He, old ancestor, don't be scared. Ling Kang Empress no longer has Emperor Realm cultivation. She's just putting on a show. You just need to find an excuse to test her out a bit. There's no need to fear. Easy for you to say. You weren't the one who got stomped into the ground back then. Seeing that their own old ancestor was truly unreliable, Yu Hang True Immortal had no choice but to step forward himself. Empress, please don't be angry. We haven't come to challenge your majesty, but merely heard that you successfully vanquished the demons, so we specially came to offer our congratulations. Do I need your congratulations? Ling Kang Empress spoke with her usual oppressive aura. Meanwhile, after entering, our boy stood in a corner, listening to her words, and couldn't help but shake his head. What's up with this old hag? It's like fat delivered right to the cat's mouth, and she doesn't even know how to snatch it. They said they came to congratulate her, so she should be taking this opportunity to swipe some treasures, right? If you say that, aren't you forcing the Taiyi sect to declare war on the Heavenly Dao Sect? Cultivating to this level, and their brains are still so inflexible. Catching our boy's inner thoughts, Ling Kang Empress's expression subtly shifted. Then she spoke. You say you've come to congratulate me, but I really don't see any gifts. The moment those words left her mouth, the people of the Taiyi sect exchanged glances, while Zhang Yuan and the Heavenly Dao Sect elders were even more astonished. Ling Kang Empress usually acts all high and mighty, completely unbothered by worldly affairs. Why the sudden change in temperament today? Now the Taiyi sect gang had dug their own grave. Crying or not, they had to jump in. Starting with Qing He Venerable, each person reluctantly pulled out numerous heavenly treasures and earthly bounties. At this moment, Ling Kang Empress was still overwhelmingly powerful, just like 800 years ago when she stormed the Taiyi sect, truly like standing above the 9 heavens, looking down upon all living beings like a divine entity. This made Yu Hang True Immortal start to waver. Was such an overwhelming aura truly from someone whose Dao heart was damaged and had fallen from the Emperor realm? If Yu Hang True Immortal knew that Ling Kang Empress's confidence actually came from that little janitor standing quietly in the corner, who knows what he would think? Calming himself, Yu Hang True Immortal spoke. Today is a joyous occasion. Just drinking wine would be a bit regrettable. How about a friendly spar? Zhang Yuan True Immortal stared intently at Yu Hang True Immortal, a cold smile playing on the corner of his lips. I'm always ready. Yu Hang True Immortal chuckled. Mingxiao, why aren't you greeting the esteemed seniors? Hearing this, Chen Mingxiao stood up and respectfully bowed to Ling Kang Empress and everyone from the Heavenly Dao Sect. This junior Chen Mingxiao greets Ling Kang Empress, the Heavenly Dao Sect, and all esteemed seniors. I believe that cultivators should. Before he could even finish, Yu Hang True Immortal interrupted him. At this moment, he truly wanted to expel this unruly disciple from the sect. Didn't this clown even bother to see what kind of situation they were in? He truly couldn't read the room. If Yu Hang True Immortal hadn't stopped him, Chen Mingxiao would have already started his world peace lecture again. This is my untalented disciple. Although his cultivation is shallow, it's barely acceptable. Let him fight in my stead. Although Chen Mingxiao was unwilling, Yu Hang True Immortal had repeatedly instructed him before coming. He could only force a bitter expression and unleash his aura. In an instant, a late-stage qi condensation aura swept through the grand hall. Everyone from the Tian Dao Sect was astonished. To have such cultivation at such a young age, this dude is definitely going to be a heavenly emperor-level powerhouse in the future. Among the Tian Dao Sect disciples, the one with the highest cultivation was none other than Saint San Qixi. True Immortal Zhang Yuan was just about to grit his teeth and summon Qixi, but the disciple he ordered just stood there, frozen solid. Though not much time had passed, the news of Qixi's cultivation being crippled had already spread throughout the Tian Dao Sect. Only True Immortal Zhang Yuan, currently in secluded cultivation, remained oblivious. At this moment, Elder Huo Xiaoting secretly transmitted the news to True Immortal Zhang Yuan. Saint San Qixi was his disciple, and they'd shared a master-disciple bond for years. Hearing this, True Immortal Zhang Yuan almost lost control of his spiritual energy. But fortunately, he recovered his composure in an instant. Just then, Empress Ling Cheng pointed a finger at our boy from the Tian Dao Sect, declaring, "I'll let him fight." You were already getting ready to dip, but being directly pointed out by Empress Ling Cheng like that, you instantly froze in place. You knew this old hag bringing you here wasn't for anything good. But to actually make you fight? Isn't she just intentionally trying to screw me over? Just wait till I get my chance, or I'll beat you until you call me daddy. And not just you, Empress. The elders of the Tian Dao Sect were also utterly baffled. A body-tempering stage handyman going up against Chen Mingxiao? They basically had zero hope of winning. True Immortal Zhang Yuan tried to speak up, but Empress Ling Cheng raised a hand to stop him. Just let him represent the Tian Dao Sect in battle. No matter how hard you tried to argue, Empress Ling Cheng remained completely unmoved. Isn't what the Empress is doing just way too much? True Immortal Yu Xing couldn't help but angrily speak out. This is clearly an insult to our Tai Yi sect. On the contrary, Chen Mingxiao spoke up to stop him. It's fine, I will spar with this fellow Taoist. After saying that, he completely ignored True Immortal Yu Xing and flew directly to the training ground outside the Grand Hall. At this moment, Chen Mingxiao understood clearly in his heart. This battle could only be lost, not won. If he truly swept aside the younger generation of the Tian Dao Sect, it would only boost the Tai Yi sect's momentum and make the Tian Dao Sect harbor deep resentment. By then, new grudges would only add to the old ones. The Tai Yi sect and the Tian Dao Sect would find it even harder to coexist peacefully. Chen Mingxiao decided to use his defeat to sound a wake-up call for the Tai Yi sect, so they would understand that opposing the Tian Dao Sect was not a good choice. Cultivating oneself, maintaining inner peace, and coexisting harmoniously was truly the best path. At the same time, our boy also had his own plans. His displayed strength was only at the body-tempering stage, which was utterly laughable compared to Chen Mingxiao's void refinement stage. Therefore, he not only had to lose this battle, but he had to lose miserably. You two haven't even started your battle, yet you're both coincidentally thinking of ways to lose. But in the end, who will achieve their goal? It all depends on who's the better actor. People from both the Tian Dao Sect and the Tai Yi sect flocked to the training ground to watch this inherently ridiculous match, with only Empress Ling Cheng standing by, listening to the thoughts in everyone's hearts. How can this perverted guy, whose mind is constantly filled with dirty thoughts, whose six senses are impure, and whose distracting thoughts are never eliminated, cultivate such terrifying power? Simultaneously, Chen Mingxiao cupped his hands in greeting first. I originally did not wish to become an enemy of fellow Taoists, but my sect's orders are hard to defy. If I cause any offense, I hope fellow Taoist will forgive me. Our boy paused for a moment. He looked at his opponent, feeling a bit confused. But he had to admit, this guy from the Tai Yi sect was pretty polite. Much better than that wretched Saint San from the Tian Dao Sect. It's just that this guy seems a bit rigid in the head. Thinking this, our boy also cupped his hands in return. After that, the battle between the two commenced. Chen Mingxiao was seen leaping directly into the air, stepping on empty space, as 3 thumb-sized flying daggers continuously rotated around him. Fellow Taoist, you're really going all out. To deal with just a small handyman disciple from our Tian Dao Sect, you even brought out a quasi-earth-grade artifact? True Immortal Zheng Yuan snorted coldly as he gazed at the 3 flying daggers. True Immortal Yu Xing merely smiled faintly, not expressing any opinion. Our boy, usually a softie, but against enemies? Zero mercy. Guess all my daily teachings weren't a total waste, huh? In the entire Heavenly Dao Sect, besides Empress Lingchang, literally no one believed our boy would actually win this. Expecting a mere body-tempering handyman disciple to defeat Chen Mingxiao, a void refinement stage expert? Anyone thinking that clearly had their brain cells fried for a decade. Chen Mingxiao flicks his wrist, and 3 spiritual flying daggers zoom straight for our protagonists. Everyone already saw it happening. Our boy's blood splattering all over the place. Our boy sighs, thinking, ugh, still gotta put on this show for these guys. At this rate, I'm practically a professional actor. This is such a pain. All thanks to that old hag, Empress Ling Chang. Our boy had already forced up a mouthful of blood, ready to spit it out at any moment to fake a fatal injury, barely clinging to life. But before he could even start his act, the opponent beat him to the punch. Then, Chen Mingxiao suddenly went pale, his entire body trembling, as if he'd seen the most terrifying thing ever. He screamed, and then his stiff body just plummeted from the sky. This is all I can do, Chen Mingxiao thinks. I just hope the Tai Sect finally wakes up from this. Then my painstaking efforts won't be in vain. To make sure his act was super convincing, Chen Mingxiao even reversed his spiritual energy, sent it crashing into his spirit core, and promptly passed out. Talk about dedication. This whole spectacle left our boy just standing there, utterly dumbfounded. Things happened so fast our boy literally had no idea what to do. Out of everyone watching, only Empress Ling Chang remained completely unbothered. This kind of trick, it was exactly like what she pulled with Qi Si back in Rear Mountain. Seriously, too spooky. But at our boy's internal screaming, Empress Ling Chang just found herself amused. When this guy gets ruthless, he even fools himself, she thought. His very thoughts are a disguise. What a horny perv. If our boy knew what Empress Ling Chang was thinking, he'd definitely be yelling, "Injustice! I seriously didn't do anything," our boy would scream internally. Even the people from Heavenly Dao Sect didn't expect this outcome. True Immortal Yu Hong, stunned for a beat, didn't even have time to process it before rushing to cradle his disciple. But then, the situation escalated into even more chaos. Our boy suddenly staggered back a dozen steps, collapsed heavily to his knees, then, with all his remaining strength, slowly raised a trembling hand, his mouth twitching a few times. But no words came out. A massive mouthful of blood shot more than 10 meters into the air, and then he just collapsed. Nobody knew if he was alive or dead. Everyone, including the Tai Sect members, stared in absolute disbelief. Even Empress Ling Chang looked genuinely confused. This horny perv is supposedly so terrifying, so how could his strength be so easily wounded, she wondered. Our boy's performance was so convincing, even she got fooled. But it was only when the Empress heard our boy's internal monologue that she finally snapped out of it. What are you all just standing there gawking for? Our boy screamed internally. This old man is tired of kneeling. Turns out, this clown was faking it the whole time. Ling Changnu Di subtly smirked, then ordered Huo Xiaoting to go check on our boy's condition. But Huo Xiaoting checked him over and over, yet still couldn't find a single thing. Empress, your disciple truly can't see any injuries on him. How about we first take him to the back mountain and invite a spirit alchemist to examine him? This was definitely the smartest play right now. But Ling Changnu Di wasn't having it. Strange if he wasn't faking, she thought. This thirsty dude was clearly unharmed, just looking for an excuse to ditch Meiji Men. No need for such trouble, she declared. I can naturally heal him myself. Right then, our boy was seething inside. What in the cultivation heavens does this old hag, Ling Changnu Di, actually want? She's not going to take this chance to get revenge and off me, is she? Wicked witch! He screamed internally. But in this moment, our boy could only lie completely still, letting Ling Changnu Di have her way with him. Ling Changnu Di then leaned down and channeled a surge of energy right into our protagonist. It looked all innocent on the surface, but in reality, it was Ling Changnu Di's spiritual power, accumulated for ages and condensed to a single, deadly point. Our boy's face started twisting in agony, but he still tried to hold it in. Ling Changnu Di didn't call him out. She just gave a subtle, knowing smile, then flicked her finger once more. Suddenly, our unconscious protagonist jolted upright, his face a picture of confusion. What happened to me? He stammered. Everyone from Tian Dao Sect praised Ling Changnudi's miraculous healing arts, but only our boy knew the truly venomous heart of that woman. Alright, let's call that a draw for now, he mused internally. Ling Changnudi spoke up. The people of Taiyi Sect, of course, wouldn't refuse. A draw was already the absolute best outcome. A mere fodder disciple in the body-severing realm going toe-to-toe with Taiyi Sect's holy son? If this news gets out, Tian Dao Sect's fame is about to skyrocket. There's one more matter we've come for today. Yuxing Venerable suddenly changed his tone, cupping his hands and stating, "The 1,000-year deadline draws near. The spirit realm's secret instance is about to open. As per ancient regulations, the major sects must use divine artifacts to blast open the entrance to the spirit realm. Only then can they snag a slot to enter the secret instance. Currently, all the major powers are convinced Tian Dao Sect no longer possesses a divine artifact. Therefore, Tian Dao Sect gets 0 slots for this year's spirit realm secret instance." Hearing this, everyone from Tian Dao Sect was furious, yet utterly helpless. After all, this was an ancient rule of the Eastern Divine Continent. Before, they could at least rely on Ling Changnudi's terrifying might to save face. But now, they had no more excuses. Especially since Tian Dao Sect's divine artifact had famously shattered. The entire Eastern Divine Continent and the cultivation world knew it. No matter how much they bluffed, they couldn't just pull a divine artifact out of thin air. Divine artifacts? That's it? This old man has plenty. I could pull out any random one and scare you lot to death. What are you even pretending for? Just as everyone was scratching their heads, our boy's inner monologue once again caused Ling Changnudi to snap to attention. Who said we don't have a divine artifact? Ling Changnudi's eyes flashed with a terrifying light, her aura now several shades stronger than before. Shenhe Venerable couldn't help but gasp. She's even stronger than she was 1,000 years ago. After saying that, Shenhe Venerable shot a fierce glare at Yuxing Venerable. This is what you meant by her cultivation being completely gone? Yuxing Venerable was also utterly bewildered. Could such an aura really belong to someone who'd fallen from the imperial realm? Immediately after, Ling Changnudi looked towards our boy, and in his head, he was already cataloging her wealth. She uses 10,000-year supreme lightning-struck wood as a chair, spirit-nourishing wood as a bed, and even phoenix roosting parasol wood as a damn wash basin? Anything you casually pull from your room would be more precious than a mere divine artifact. Seeing this, our boy froze. Could this old hag know about his divine artifacts? Recalling how this woman had been clinging to him every single day, our boy finally pieced together that she discovered something. Thinking of this, he suddenly curled his lips into a scheming, mischievous grin. All right, obeying the Lingchang Empress's decree? That divine artifact you specifically told me to guard carefully? It's right here. He casually pulled an item from his system space, and in an instant, a brilliant light erupted, illuminating heaven and earth. So it really is a divine artifact. Heavens bless our Tian Dao Sect. The elders of Tian Dao Sect were beyond excited. How is this even possible? Yu Hang, true person, genuinely couldn't wrap his head around it. Since when did Tian Dao Sect suddenly acquire another top-grade divine artifact? But the undeniable truth right before his eyes left him no choice but to believe. Everyone held their breath, their gazes fixed intently on the radiant light in his hand. Even the Lingcheng Empress was caught off guard. Why was our boy so eager to take out a divine artifact this time around? Before long, the dazzling light dissipated, and the divine artifact finally revealed its true form. And everyone's expressions? They slowly started to turn peculiar. At this moment, Lingcheng Empress's beautiful face flushed crimson, practically turning into a ripe apple. The sheer, overwhelming embarrassment made her entire body tremble with pure, unadulterated rage. You lecherous pervert! You beast! What he held was indeed a top-grade divine artifact, but its true form was an outfit, primarily black, with delicate white lace trim, complete with a short skirt, and, to top it all off, a frilly cat ear headband. This, right here, was our boy's masterpiece, painstakingly forged over countless hours. He called it, simply, the new-made outfit. Everyone's gazes, now fixed on Lingcheng Empress, turned incredibly peculiar. As for the Empress herself, she wished she could slice our boy into 100 pieces, her face a fiery mask of shame and fury, as she absolutely glared at him. Seeing her reaction, our boy was beyond satisfied. Know the power of this daddy now? Still dare to plot against me? Believe it or not, I've got even more stimulating stuff I can pull out. Hearing his inner thoughts, Lingcheng Empress's heart couldn't help but shudder. She hastily peeled her murderous gaze away from our boy. She awkwardly tried to explain to everyone. This divine artifact was merely something I stumbled upon while exploring a secret realm. While it might be a tad difficult to look at, its power is undeniably formidable. Everyone nodded along, but their gazes, full of hidden meaning, still shot towards our boy. What they were thinking internally, Nobody knew. Seeing that the divine artifact fiasco ultimately accomplished nothing, and the Tian Dao Sect couldn't even beat the Tai Yi Sect in the competition, everyone collectively decided there was no point in lingering. They gave a quick bow and then, one by one, took their leave. But before they left, a lingering question filled their minds. Had the Ling Cheng Empress ever actually worn that divine artifact? But naturally, no one dared to voice such a question out loud. Our boy, of course, didn't hesitate either, quickly making his move to leave. But he hadn't even gotten far before the Ling Cheng Empress called him back. "Empress, do you have any instructions for me?" Ling Cheng Empress stammered, thinking for a long, awkward moment. Finally, she managed to blurt out, "Where did you get that divine artifact from?" "Oh, I just found it. Picked it up while exploring a secret realm," he said casually. Obviously, this was precisely the excuse Ling Cheng Empress had just spouted moments ago. Seeing his utterly indifferent demeanor, she was so furious she practically ground her teeth to dust. But at this critical moment, she couldn't afford to lose her temper, because she still desperately needed his help with something. "You already know, don't you? Tian Dao Sect's divine artifact is broken, and right now, we desperately need a replacement." Before Ling Cheng Empress could even finish her sentence, our boy casually tossed the new-made outfit her way. Ling Cheng Empress immediately froze on the spot, her mind reeling. This was a top-grade divine artifact, a legendary sect guardian treasure for any sect. This lecherous pervert, he actually just gave it away? He doesn't seem that utterly detestable after all, she mused internally. For a fleeting moment, a sliver of guilt actually pricked Ling Cheng Empress's heart. "So, for what you did today, do you have any requests? As long as it's within my power, I'll go all out." But who would have thought, just a second later, you blurted out, "Hey, why don't you try it on? Let me see if it fits." Empress Ling Kang nearly blew a gasket. Something so utterly shameful, how could she possibly put it on? She waved her sleeve, snatching back the divine artifact, and instantly reverted to her usual high and mighty, untouchable persona. Taking gifts from others makes your hands soft, so this old hag should have at least shown some sincerity. She's utterly clueless. But ultimately, you couldn't actually say it out loud, only lamenting it silently. After that, our boy slowly stepped forward, grabbed the broom he'd prepared, and began his mountain gate sweeping duty. Today, Empress Ling Kang stood watching. Maybe she felt a tiny bit guilty, because she offered to relieve you of your menial disciple duties. But how could you agree to that? You quickly refused. "No need. If I give up my handyman status, where will my rewards come from?" This old hag really had ulterior motives, huh? Empress Ling Kang was actually trying to be nice. But hearing your response, she couldn't help but seethe. Muttering something about you being clueless, she promptly ignored you and stormed off to her cave abode. Only then did our boy finally sigh in relief. The world is finally peaceful, you mused, and went back to sweeping the mountain gate. If not for the messy affairs of the Tian Dao Sect causing delays, you would have snatched up your rewards ages ago. The broom scraped against the stone slabs with a soft shhhk, accompanied by the joyful chirping of birds. Every now and then, a gentle breeze drifted by, making anyone feel utterly relaxed. Before long, you had swept every last corner clean. Then, that familiar system notification chimed in your ear. "Congratulations, host, for completing the mission. You have received the Zuxian array diagram." At the sound of that name, your heart jolted. Of course you had heard of the legendary Zuxian array. Legend says, back when Pangu created heaven and earth, 3,000 great Dao heavenly demons, with their unknown heavenly arts, forcefully tried to stop him. The great Dao, sensing this defiance, descended the Zuxian array to utterly annihilate those 3,000 great Dao heavenly demons. But its most legendary display was during the Fengshen War, when Grandmaster Tongtian unleashed the Zuxian array to show off its overwhelming divine power. No one could stand against its edge. It ultimately took 4 sages combining their strength just to break through the Zuxian array. This was truly the supreme treasure, and you couldn't help but feel utterly hyped. As you clutched the Zuxian array diagram, an ancient bell seemed to peal within your mind, and a world-shaking killing intent surged through you. Standing within the array, you literally saw endless chaos, a colossal giant wielding a mighty axe, with the Zuxian array hovering above his head. Even as 3,000 great Dao heavenly demons assaulted him, he pressed forward, utterly unyielding. Snapping back to reality, your eyes gleamed with pure elation. It truly was the legendary Zuxian array. The diagram revealed that the Zuxian array was comprised of 4 supreme divine weapons: the Zuxian sword, the Luxian sword, the Hamxian sword, and the Juexian sword. And even better, it came with the forging method for these 4 peerless, vicious artifacts. This wasn't some mere divine artifact, or even a saint artifact that could compare. After a moment of thought, you made a firm decision. You had to collect all parts of the Zuxian array. Even though your current cultivation was formidable, you clearly understood you weren't yet invincible under heaven. The Dragon, Phoenix, and Quilin clans, the three great clans, along with the Witch clan, all harbored peerless powerhouses. You'd previously speculated that this world might be the ancient era before Hong Huang, right before the Longhan Great Tribulation. Now, with the Zuxian array in hand, you were even more certain they were truly standing on the precipice of the Longhan Great Tribulation. Alright, this is getting kinda annoying. After the Longhan Great Tribulation comes the Great Witch Demon War, then the Fengshen War, and finally, the Jiu Tribulation. Each one of these events causes world-shattering changes. At this point, you're just on a roller coaster of emotions. Crying and laughing. You thought you could just chill and behave in the Heavenly Dao Sect. But turns out, even the simplest wish is a pipe dream now. Still, our boy doesn't stress too much. One step at a time, and if all else fails, just find a remote mountain, hide out, and wait for the apocalypse. After finishing the mission, you headed back to the back mountain, resuming your chill, leisurely life. For several days straight, Ling Chang NVD didn't show her face again. You were a little confused, sure, but also low-key thrilled about the peace and quiet. Women only slow down the blade draw, after all. And during these days, Zhue Mo was still plotting daily, trying to figure out how to finally kill you. Even if the chances were slim to none, this dude absolutely refused to give up. This was literally Zhue Mo's sole motivation for existing. Looking at Dao Huang, who was usually plump and healthy, he'd withered a lot these past few days. What in the world had he been through? In the pond, Ao Yi was still getting tangled with that old turtle every single day, his life practically hanging by a thread. Initially, Ao Yi was absolutely seething, wishing he could just swallow you and Da Huang, the two main culprits, whole. But one day, Ao Yi accidentally discovered a golden scale growing on his body. Though it was just a tiny fragment, it was enough to send him into a frenzy of joy. In the Dragon Clan, only upon reaching the Tian Yao realm, which is the Tian Di realm, do they start shedding their old scales and gradually grow golden ones. The more golden scales, the stronger their cultivation base. Reaching the Tian Dao realm means their entire body will be completely covered in golden scales. A Jinlong is the ultimate symbol of status and power, the true royalty of the Dragon Clan. In the entire Donghai, only the Donghai Longwang has ever reached that legendary realm. Originally, Ao Yi was only at the half-step Emperor realm, early stage. To become a Tian Yao and enter the Tian Di realm, he had an incredibly long journey ahead. But who would have thought that being submerged in this Taichu Ben Yuan Yi would let him step into the Tian Di realm in such a ridiculously short amount of time? Ao Yi couldn't quite believe it. This pond was shrouded in some mysterious power, rendering him unable to use even a speck of spirit energy, so he couldn't actually verify if it was true. Still, growing golden scales was a good thing no matter what, and recalling all the dangers he'd faced these past few days, it was all worth it. Looking at you, our boy didn't seem that annoying after all. Thinking about that old turtle. Logically speaking, the Dragon Clan possesses the supreme bloodline among all demon beasts. They should have an innate suppression over ordinary wild beasts, or demon creatures. Even if he couldn't unleash his cultivation right now, his bloodline power remained absolute and unchanged. Yet, when facing this particular old turtle, for some reason, there was absolutely no bloodline suppression whatsoever. In fact, when confronting the old turtle, Ao Yi vaguely felt a hint of fear, as if a primal dread was etched deep into his very soul. Could this old turtle also be abnormal? If that old turtle knew Ao Yi's thoughts right now, it would probably just scoff. Back in my day, I ate 300 dragons a day, devouring them until the Dragon Clan nearly went extinct. You truly think the Dragon Clan are the overlords of heaven and earth? At this moment, you were sitting by the pond, fishing. The youth, reflected in the murky water, seemed to emanate a strange Dasio rhythm. Suddenly, the fishing float plunged, and the line instantly pulled taut. You, who had been completely calm, suddenly had your eyes sharpen. Exerting force with both hands, a surge of Dabio rhythm flowed into the fishing rod. Boom! A massive pillar of water erupted from the surface as a half-meter-long fish was ripped from the depths, still flopping wildly on the ground. Finally, our boy reeled you in. Our boy, he smirked, had been staking out this spot for days just for this fish. Just as he was pondering what gourmet delight to whip up, he sensed a familiar, annoying aura approaching. The freeloading leech was back. Not long after, Ling Chengnu Di appeared in the back mountain, forcing our boy to reluctantly open his mouth, a dash of impatience in his tone. What are you even doing here? I came. Ling Chengnu Di hesitated, a hint of shyness in her voice. Share some evil key with you. Upon hearing this, our boy stared at her with the most bewildered expression. Thanks, I guess. Couldn't this old woman conjure up a slightly less flimsy excuse? It's been ages, and she's still using the Evil Kwai Dispersal card? Bro, you look more like evil Kwai than anything. Ling Changnu Di, however, remained utterly unfazed. Not a single abnormal ripple graced her expression. Turns out, she'd already mentally braced herself for this exact level of diss before even stepping foot here. But Ling Changnu Di genuinely couldn't grasp why this lustful scoundrel didn't welcome her with the same enthusiasm he showed via Qi. Of course, she wouldn't dare voice that thought. A mighty Ling Changnu Di, uttering such embarrassing queries? Absolutely not. Even though, let's be real, she'd already lost all her face in front of our boy anyway. So, eat up then. Our boy fully expected Ling Changnu Di to go through the motions of polite refusal, allowing him to gracefully decline. But who would have guessed Ling Changnu Di just nodded without a second thought. Bro, is she that shameless now? Not a single ounce of propriety left. Unbelievable. He barely managed to swallow the bitter pill in his heart. So he asked, "Do you even like fish?" "Yes," she replied. "Good. Then you're having potatoes today." Ling Changnu Di gritted her teeth so hard at his petty move she practically snarled, "It's just a fish, isn't it? I'll catch you one myself." Ling Changnu Di, in a fit of petulance, declared, then, without even waiting for our boy's permission, directly flung her hand, unleashing torrents of spirit energy, straight at the pond. "Stop!" Our boy roared, but alas, it was already too late to intervene. His usual lazy, nonchalant expression abruptly hardened, making Ling Changnu Di totally bewildered. It's just a measly pond, right? What hidden wonders could it possibly contain? Before her spirit energy even kissed the water, the ancient turtle at the bottom of the pond abruptly snapped its eyes open. Its blood-red gaze was absolutely brimming with killing intent. "Who dares cause such a ruckus here?" "Huh!" the ancient beast roared. "You're truly courting death." It opened its ancient maw and let out a colossal roar, a terrifying sound that exploded from the pond and shot straight into the heavens. Ling Changnu Di's attack dissolved into nothingness instantly. In that same blink, the formerly serene sky above was ripped apart as if by a colossal void, with tempestuous winds and clouds churning, gathering, and scattering. Truly, a terrifying spectacle. Our boy stared at the unfolding chaos, the heavy solemnity in his gaze deepening even further. He glanced back at Ling Changnu Di, who was utterly frozen in shock. Her delicate cherry lips were slightly agape, her face a canvas of pure disbelief. She genuinely hadn't expected a casual, half-hearted attack on a mere pond to unleash such an apocalyptic disturbance. What in the cultivation world is hiding in this damn pond? A single roar causing a heaven and earth anomaly of this magnitude? What kind of cultivation level does that even require? Could this be a heavenly Dao realm existence? At this thought, Ling Chang Empress's dread spiked even higher. A heavenly Dao realm expert chilling in this thatched cottage's pond? And they're just willing to stay? If this news got out, nobody would ever believe it. Over at the East Sea Dragon Palace, the East Sea Dragon King, Ao Sheng, was absolutely fuming these days. His most beloved son, the third prince of the East Sea Dragon clan, got snatched right from his own damn territory. The absolute audacity! After hearing the news, the Dragon clan took this extremely seriously. This wasn't just an insult. It was a straight-up slap in the face to their entire race. "Are you absolutely certain the one who snatched Pinger was a dog demon?" Ao Sheng pressed his turtle prime minister beside him. The turtle prime minister nodded. He saw it clearly back then, and that Da Huang even suppressed someone right under his feet. Hearing this, Ao Sheng felt a pang of doubt. These past few days, the Dragon clan had wiped out countless dog demon tribes. But still, no trace of Ao Yi. What's more, according to the turtle prime minister, that golden dog possessed extraordinary strength. It could directly suppress an invincible realm expert. At the very least, it was invincible. Perhaps even a terrifying supreme-level existence. An existence of this caliber would be a prominent powerhouse even in the Central Plains. There's no way it could be nameless and unknown. Yet now, that golden dog seemed to have vanished from the face of the earth. No matter how much the Dragon clan searched, even pouring all their strength into it, they found nothing. This was genuinely peculiar. The longer time dragged on, the more anxious Ao Sheng became, fearing that something had happened to his precious son. "Your humble servant, on the other hand, has a speculation." The turtle prime minister spoke up, his eyes flickering with a hint of hesitation. Ao Sheng frowned, asking solemnly, "Is it the Tianquan clan?" The turtle prime minister spoke this line with extreme caution. After he finished, Ao Sheng froze, then bowed his head in thought, not speaking immediately. "Tianquan," he muttered to himself. "That's the Qilin's third largest vassal race. Other dog races? Ploft. They'd just tremble in fear before the Dragon clan's might, fundamentally daring not to resist. But if it's the Tianquan, that's a whole other story. Not to mention the Tianquan clan is already formidable, with several Heavenly Dao realm experts within their ranks. And behind them? The even more terrifying Qilin clan. This is a race that can rival the Dragon clan itself. If the Tian clan is truly behind this, then this matter is absolutely huge. The Dragon clan and the Qilin clan were never on good terms to begin with, Ao Sheng said solemnly, then added, I must go report to the Dragon Emperor. Just as he was about to leave, Ao Sheng suddenly felt a faint trace of fear emerge from the depths of his heart. The soul-shaking terror, though fleeting, was incredibly clear. He unconsciously glanced in one direction, only then regaining his composure. Meanwhile, Ao Yi's situation wasn't exactly looking good. This grand primordial origin liquid could suppress his cultivation and spiritual energy, but for that old turtle, it had absolutely no effect. He was so scared he was hiding in a corner, trembling. What kind of ancient turtle is this, bro? That's clearly a Xuanwu demonic thief. Didn't they say this race went extinct tens of thousands of years ago? Why are there still remnants? Just thinking about how he was chilling in the same pond as a Xuanwu demonic thief, a creature known for munching on dragons for ages, Ao Yi nearly sht his pants. Maybe it saw I didn't have much meat on my bones and got lazy. Otherwise, how the heck would I have escaped with my strength? Ao Yi knew full well. Right now, our boy just wanted a piece out of this godforsaken place. He was still wondering, when did this world get so freaking dangerous? You, a grand Xuanwu demonic thief. Why are you cosplaying as a turtle here? Above the pond, the sky was still churning with dark clouds. Suddenly, a colossal turtle horn, condensed from pure spiritual energy, slammed down from the heavens. It was even wrapped with threads of the great Tao itself. Aiming right for Ling Kang NV Dai. In that instant, Ling Kang NV Dai's hairs stood on end. The absolute terror of death gripped her heart. Facing this boundless energy source, she felt utterly insignificant. Closing her eyes, Ling Kang NV Dai was already bracing for the sweet embrace of death. Our boy slightly furrowed his brow. And then, he softly uttered one word. Disperse. The sound was so faint, almost inaudible. But just like that, the colossal turtle horn disintegrated on the spot. The sky instantly calmed, returning to clear skies and bright air. The ancient turtle at the bottom of the pond let out a cold snort, then closed its eyes and went back to sleep. Our boy turned to Ling Kang NV Dai. Graceful figure, a few stray strands of green hair, willow-like brows slightly furrowed, standing tall and straight, completely resigned. His burning rage had nowhere to go. After a moment of thought, a not-so-kind smirk played on his lips. He then sauntered within half a meter of Ling Kang NV Dai, bowing his head to look at her. Then, he leaned even closer, whispering in her ear, Asleep already? Hearing the voice echo in her ear, Ling Kang NV Dai's eyes snapped open. The apocalyptic scene she'd imagined never materialized. Instead, there was just an extra face. Sword-like brows, star-like eyes, extraordinarily handsome. That not-so-kind smirk at the corner of his lips made her heart tremble even more, making anyone's heart pound like a war drum. So beautiful! Ling Kang NV Dai blurted out, completely unaware. By the time she snapped out of it, her face was flaming red. Why did I just blurt out something so cringe? As an empress, she's always been high above the clouds. Never encountered a situation like this before. Before this, Ling Kang NVD was completely dedicated to her cultivation. Never had this kind of close contact with any man, ever. The atmosphere immediately turned peak awkward. Ling Kang NVD was flustered. For a moment, she didn't even try to dodge. Instead, she took another step forward. They were already super close. And now, the distance was practically zero. Our boy and Ling Kang NV Dai were practically glued together. Suddenly, a soft, alluring fragrance filled his nostrils. Looking at the Empress before him, the smile on our boy's face completely froze. His heart, like a wild horse unleashed, began to pound uncontrollably in his chest. He only wanted to tease Ling Kang NV Dai initially. Who knew it would turn into this mess? Ling Kang NV Dai also froze right there. Feeling a man's presence she had never, ever experienced, her heart suddenly went into complete chaos. The afternoon sun wasn't hot at all, and a gentle breeze swept through, rippling the pond's surface and playfully blowing Ling Kang NV Dai's hair. The strands of green hair brushed against his face. Our boy felt an uncomfortable itch. This moment felt frozen in time, as if the entire world had faded away, leaving only the two of them. Because of the absurdly close distance, our boy could even feel Ling Kang NV Dai's heart pounding furiously. What should I do now? Hearing our boy's internal monologue, Ling Kang NV Dai finally snapped out of it. She hurriedly took a step back, then turned away. The look of utter embarrassment on her face was unprecedented. She took deep breaths, one after another, but still couldn't calm her tumultuous, chaotic mind. What the heck did I just do? How did it even come to this? That absolute scumbag, how's he ever going to show his face again after this? Nah, it's fine, nothing happened. Just a tiny oopsie. Ling Chengnudi's mind was a mess right then, constantly trying to hype herself up and deny reality. Bro, even you felt the secondhand embarrassment. You steal a quick glance at Ling Changnu, then slowly mumble, I'll go make some food. With that, you turn and peace out, first cleaning the fish and putting it on the chopping block. Before your knife even touched the fish, a voice from outside the cottage rang out. Excuse me, senior brother, is Ling Changnu around? You look up and spot a female disciple at the entrance. She's got a nicely rounded figure, and while not exactly a beauty that could topple empires, she has a certain pure charm, like that innocent girl next door, frail and gentle, making it easy to like her. A blush bloomed on her face, and she spoke ever so carefully, like she was afraid of even breathing wrong. Before you could even get a word in, Ling Changnu smoothly floats over, gives the new girl a quick, icy look, then speaks, her usual, I'm above it all, Empress vibe completely back. Seeing that, you can't help but click your tongue. Bro, that switch up was fast. 1 second she's a blushing mess, the next she's ice cold. Gotta admit, this kind of unpredictability just makes her even more captivating. Just from your thoughts, Ling Changnu flares up, a mix of shame and pure rage. This absolute scumbag. But with the other disciple right there, Ling Changnu couldn't let it show, forced to keep up her high and mighty Empress act. The female disciple at the door clearly didn't expect to actually find Ling Changnu here. Shocked and thrilled, she immediately performed a deep bow. Your disciple, Bai Yu Wei, has specially come to pay respects to Ling Changnu, hoping you'll take me on as your personal disciple. At this, Ling Changnu's brow twitched. She didn't answer immediately but instead shot back, how did you know I was in the back mountain? Before Ling Changnu, Bai Yu Wei was a bundle of nerves. Right now, everyone in the sect knows the Empress is residing in the back mountain. Finishing her explanation, she cautiously peeked at Ling Changnu, then added, along with senior brother Li Yan. The moment she heard that, Ling Changnu's face absolutely soured. What exactly does, along with Li Yan, mean? Bro, does that imply they're sharing some hush-hush secret or something? My pristine reputation is utterly destroyed by that absolute pervert. As that thought crossed her mind, Ling Changnu glares at you, and you instantly feel annoyed. What's this old hag glaring at me for? Did I invite her? Bro, I was hoping she'd not show up and cause trouble. She came here herself, and now she's blaming me? Ling Changnu completely ignores you, then turns to Bai Yu Wei and says, I'm not taking any disciples. Go home. And with that, she turns and walks away, offering zero chance for negotiation. The moment she heard that, Bai Yu Wei's eyes immediately reddened, tears silently trailing down her face. That, pear blossoms bathed in rain, look? Instant heart melter, bro. Bro, you saw that? You shake your head, sighing. This old hag really can't see the talent right in front of her. A peerless genius practically hand-delivered to her door, and she still rejects them? If that Xian Tian Zhuo Ti is properly cultivated, their potential is absolutely limitless. What a tragic waste. Ling Changnu freezes mid-step. A flicker of shock appears in her eyes. Xian Tian Zhuo Ti Ken. She, of all people, obviously knew what that physique signified. Legend says that when heaven and earth were still unformed, the entire world was cloaked in primordial chaos. This chaos then split into Qing Qi and Zhuo Qi. After the great god Pan Jiyu broke open heaven and earth, the primordial chaos shattered. Qing Qi rose to become the sky, while Zhuo Qi sank to form the very ground. These two Qis, Qing and Zhuguo, were originally the ultimate treasures of heaven and earth. On rare occasions, with an incredibly tiny chance, some individuals would be born influenced by either Qing Qi or Zhuo Qi, thus manifesting as in Xian Tian Qing Ti or in Xian Tian Zhuo Ti. The Xian Tian Qing Ti is born naturally attuned to spiritual Qi, meaning their cultivation speed progresses by insane leaps and bounds. But the guy with the innate impurity physique is different, because turbid energy is inherently heavy and murky, making spiritual energy very hard to absorb into the body. However, the innate impurity physique grants an extremely strong constitution, perfectly suited for the body cultivation path. Legend has it that someone once cultivated the innate impurity physique to grand completion, and could suppress even heavenly Tao realm experts with pure physical might. This alone proves how terrifying this physique truly is. Ling Chang Empress was utterly shocked. Could this truly be a peerless genius right before her eyes? If that's really the case, then her heavenly Dao Sect is about to experience a massive boom, right? She was overjoyed, turning to look at Bai Yu Wei. Ling Chang Empress's gaze was like lightning, making Bai Yu Wei's scalp tingle. The innate impurity physique is inherently hard to discern. Even with her full power, Ling Chang Empress couldn't spot anything unusual. Nevertheless, Ling Chang Empress had already made up her mind. This Bai Yu Wei must be kept and nurtured. Our boy's words? Ling Chang Empress fully believed them now. If he said it was the innate impurity physique, then it must be true, no cap. Though I cannot officially take you as a disciple, seeing your dedication to the Dako. From today onwards, you may temporarily reside on this back mountain. Lingchang Empress still spoke with an indifferent tone. After saying that, she turned and sat back down at the dining table. Our boy was a bit skeptical. Wait, is this old hag really being kind? Bai Yue, who was originally despairing, immediately beamed with joy upon hearing this. Her tears hadn't even dried before a smile bloomed on her face. Thank you, Empress. Thank you, senior brother Lian. I will definitely cultivate diligently and not let down the Empress's trust. She spoke with utmost reverence, her posture exceedingly humble. Liu Yan was quite interested. He really wanted to see how violent this pure and delicate junior sister would become if she truly cultivated the innate impurity physique. But then, he felt something was off. You accept your own disciple? But just leave her in the back mountain? Are you acting like this place is your personal mansion or something? This old hag is truly annoying. Bringing another problem here. How am I supposed to live peacefully after this? Lian complained in his mind. Lingchang Empress completely ignored his inner grumblings, letting out a soft humph. The entire Heavenly Dao Sect is under my management. What? Your back mountain are you talking about? She thought. But a moment later, she actually felt that having such an obedient junior sister wasn't so bad. As soon as she entered, Bai Yue walked up to Lianyan, looking at him with an innocent expression. Senior brother Lianyan, is there anything I can help with? She asked. See, this is how you act when you visit someone else's home. Much more polite than that old lady. Though her figure isn't on par with Lingchang Empress, she's young and has a lot of room for development. Hearing Li Yan's inner thoughts, Lingchang Empress immediately gritted her teeth. How can this pervert have such despicable thoughts? She somewhat regretted letting Bai Yue stay. Then, remembering her recent close interaction with Li Yan, Lingchang Empress's initial aloof and superior demeanor slowly dissolved, her face flushing red as she thought about it. After Bai Yue arrived, she was never idle. Washing dishes, picking vegetables, she was much more diligent than Lingchang Empress. Plus, she constantly called out senior brother Lian. Who wouldn't like such a pure and adorable junior sister? Once everything was almost done, Lian prepared to make fish. A small knife appeared in his hand, ancient but exquisitely designed and compact. Even from a distance, Lingchang Empress could feel the sharp aura emanating from it. It's a divine artifact again? She thought, feeling the faint pressure from the knife. Lingchang Empress confirmed this fact, leaving her both astonished and inexplicably annoyed. She recalled how, in the past, to obtain just one divine artifact, she had tried every method imaginable, only to end up with a low-grade one. Yet, in the hands of this scoundrel, divine artifacts were like common radishes and cabbages. Other people treasured their divine artifacts, carefully nurturing them in areas with abundant spiritual energy, never using them unless absolutely necessary. But this pervert was using a divine artifact to prepare fish. Even though Lian had surprised her too many times these past few days, Lingchang Empress still— What in the cultivation world is even going on right now? If you knew what Lingchang Empress was thinking, you'd scoff and roll your eyes. Just a measly divine artifact, right? It's barely good enough to catch fish with. Our boy's system space probably has countless divine artifacts just gathering dust. Bai Yue's eyes lit up with a hint of admiration when she saw the blade. Senior brother, your blade is gorgeous. Even though they haven't known each other long, the initial awkwardness has completely vanished. You like it? I'll just give it to you once I'm done. Like, come on, a cute junior sister like that? What's the big deal about gifting her a small knife? This left Lingchang Empress even more flabbergasted, as she gnashed her teeth. For her, it was always garbage, but for someone else, divine artifacts were just handed out like candy? You absolute scoundrel. She shot you a furious glare, but it still wasn't enough to calm her rage. What's this old hag glaring at me for? Did I poke a nerve or something? Senior sister is still better anyway. Obedient, understanding, and totally adorable. This only fueled Lingchang Empress's fury, filling her with even more regret. If she'd known this would happen, she would have kicked Bai Yue out in a heartbeat. Oh no, I couldn't possibly. How could this junior sister accept such a gift from senior brother? Hearing you insist, Bai Yue frantically waved her hands and shook her head, instantly sending a delightful ripple through her. Ahem, figure. It was only then that you realized. Underneath Bai Yue's seemingly petite frame lay boundless potential. You definitely misjudged before. Bai Yue is the real deal. In this particular aspect, the old hag Lingchang Empress just got thoroughly outclassed. Lingchang Empress, a mix of embarrassment and rage, unconsciously glanced down at her own chest. I'm not small either, Lingchang Empress grumbled under her breath, like a petulant child. The moment she said it, a furious blush spread from her face all the way down to her neck. How could a dignified empress like her utter such shameless words? It had to be because of that shameless scoundrel. She secretly snuck a glance at you, seeing you still engrossed in conversation with Bai Yue. Lingchang Empress felt a mix of relief and a strange sense of loss. Could she really? not measure up to that girl? Seeing Bai Yue refuse, you spoke up again, bro. It's just a rusty old knife, what's the big deal? Just think of it as a small meeting gift from your senior brother. Talk about a power play, am I right? Ling Chang Empress, standing beside you, heard this and practically saw red, wishing she could slap you senseless. This is a divine artifact, and you're calling it a rusty old knife? If this is a rusty old knife, then every other weapon out there is just pure scrap metal. She was seething inside. Truly, comparing yourself to others only leads to an early death from pure rage. Seeing your persistence, Bai Yue hesitated for a moment, then finally nodded. Then, thank you, senior brother. If you ever need anything from me in the future, Yue will absolutely not refuse. She said those words with an uncharacteristic, almost terrifying, sincerity. Bai Yue, bless her innocent heart, had no clue this unassuming little knife was actually a divine artifact. I mean, literal god-tier stuff has its own spirit. And with her measly human Dao Dao martial realm cultivation, she couldn't even begin to grasp its true power. Our boy nodded, fully satisfied. This little blade? Oh, he'd be needing it for a lot later. As he spoke, his gaze accidentally strayed to Bai Yue's generous assets. She caught him looking, and a faint blush bloomed across her pure face. Then, remembering what our boy just said, Bai Yue secretly thought, senior brother is so naughty. Snapping back to reality, our MC got serious about processing the fish. He took it from the basin. The little knife flashed, ending its life with brutal efficiency. Scales scraped, belly slit, guts removed. His movements were clean, precise, and carried a strangely brutal elegance. In no time the fish was prepped. Bai Yue, watching from the side, felt her eyes go wide, a strange glint appearing in them. She slowly opened her mouth, uttering a few words. So thrilling. You really know how to keep a person captivated. Glancing back at Bai Yue, our boy saw an undeniable gleam of excitement flash in her eyes. Wait, does this junior sister have violent tendencies? Guess you really can't judge a book by its cover, huh? She looks so innocent, but dang, that figure is still stacked. Without even realizing it, our boy was already going down that path again, though he'd pretty much confirmed Bai Yue definitely had a thing for violence. But hey, it makes sense. Her innate physique was pretty much designed for the path of brutality. It's just that Bai Yue's face is too damn innocent looking, which kinda throws people off. Empress Ling Chang, hovering unseen, heard his every inner thought. She had probably called him a pervert 1,000 times over by now. After that, our boy headed to the kitchen and started heating up some oil. In no time at all, a mouth-watering plate of red braised fish, bursting with color and aroma, was served right onto the table. Junior sister, dinner's ready, quote. Our boy called out to Bai Yue, but Bai Yue didn't seem to register it, still standing frozen in place. It took a few more calls before she slowly, hesitantly, made her way over. But Bai Yue didn't sit down right away. She just stood by the table, a look of pure dread on her face as she spoke. Master and senior brother are eating. Yue dares not sit at the table. Seeing her in such a miserable state, our boy's heart softened just a tad. But Bai Yue's words, something felt really off, no matter how he spun it. She's master, I'm senior brother. Wait, when did I become this old hag's disciple? Isn't she just trying to take advantage of me? Empress Ling Chang, hearing that, was pretty pissed off. But deep down, she knew. Forget losing her peak cultivation. Even if she still had her heaven-earth realm power, it'd be utterly useless against this pervert. Recalling that terrifying entity in the pond earlier, which she couldn't stand a chance against, Empress Ling Chang couldn't really argue, thinking to herself, so what if this pervert takes a little advantage of you? Our boy had no idea how to explain himself. If he denied it, his relationship with Empress Ling Chang would just get even more complicated. No choice but to just grin and bear it, he supposed. Seeing Empress Ling Chang still acting all high and mighty, our boy felt a surge of irritation. This old hag, my benefits aren't so easily snatched. I'll definitely find a chance to reclaim what's mine. Where should I start though? The chest? Or the butt? Thinking this, our boy immediately scolded himself. Bro, how could I even think that? Is this how a man acts? PF'd. Only kids choose. A true Sigma takes it all. Empress Ling Shuang heard this, and felt a wave of injustice well up inside her. Hold up. I didn't say anything, so why's this blame landing squarely on my head? Unconsciously, her gaze at Bai Yue gained a few more points of hostility. Then she composed herself, glancing at Bai Yue, who was still just standing there. Our boy opened his mouth, saying, it's fine, just sit down. No need for so many rules around me. But his words seemed to have zero effect. Bai Yue just stood there, unmoving, unresponsive. She cautiously shot a look at Empress Ling Shuang, practically waiting for a royal decree. This made our boy's blood boil a little. Bro, this is my territory. Who are you even looking at? I told you to sit, so sit. Let's see who dares say anything. He said this with utmost seriousness, his voice unconsciously rising a few octaves. But Bai Yue? Still not moving. He felt like he'd just been slapped across the face, his cheeks burning. This was beyond disrespectful. Looks like I gotta properly teach this junior sister a lesson when I get the chance, so she understands who's really the boss around here. He immediately resolved to act fast. Just then, Empress Ling Shuang slowly spoke. Her voice was barely a whisper, yet to Bai Yue, it hit like a magical, get-out-of-jail-free card. Bai Yue immediately broke into a smile. This just pissed our boy off even more. Seriously? Who even does that? Zero respect. Absolute zero. This old hag is really pulling some strings, huh? Our boy's gaze at Empress Ling Shuang subconsciously sharpened, picking up a dangerous glint. Empress Ling Shuang also felt wronged in her heart. What did I even do? Didn't he want her to sit down anyway? He should be thanking me, honestly. If our boy knew what she was thinking, he'd probably flip his lid right then and there. You guys already made me lose so much face, and now you want me to thank you? This is just too much. Bai Yue hesitated for a moment, but finally chose to sit down. From Bai Yue's perspective, Empress Ling Shuang's domineering aura was just too intense. Compared to that, our senior brother was definitely the easier option. Seeing this, our boy finally felt a little bit better. It was just a small bench, barely big enough for two. But reaching for food? Inevitable body contact. What started as a regular meal was quickly turning into something suggestive. Empress Ling Shuang sat opposite them, watching their little scene. An unprovoked rage suddenly surged in her heart, like someone just snatched what was rightfully hers. Classic move. Didn't appreciate it when it was hers, but seeing it with someone else? Now she's bothered. You, come sit on this side. Empress Ling Shuang commanded Bai Yue, her face visibly darkening. Nope, no need. She's good right where she is. Before Bai Yue could even open her mouth, our boy had already cut in. Are you kidding me? This is a prime opportunity. Hearing those words, Empress Ling Shuang wasn't about to let it slide. Talk trash and get over here, she practically growled. Her voice dropped a few octaves, eyes icy, spitting each word. Before you could even utter a peep, Bai Yue had already snatched her rice bowl and scurried to Empress Ling Shuang's side. She bowed her head, silent, not even daring to look pitiful. And just like that, a blaze of fury ignited in your heart. What in the world is up with this woman? Who hurt you so bad that you can't just let others chill? This old man ain't humoring you anymore. Your eyes, sharp as hooks, locked onto Empress Ling Shuang, a cold glare. Seeing Bai Yue look like an absolute punching bag, you genuinely felt a surge of anger. Empress Ling Shuang didn't even glance at you, just kept eating her rice. Deep down though, she also felt seriously wronged. Why is he mad at me just because some new girl showed up? Why won't he sit with me, but he's gotta sit with her? Is the #1 beauty empress of the Eastern Divine Continent really less than some Bai Yue? Though, in some aspects, okay, maybe she is a bit bigger. Empress Ling Shuang believed that she and you were meant to be close. But Bai Yue's sudden appearance had driven a wedge between them. And honestly, Empress Ling Shuang was not having it. After a few deep, ragged breaths, you reluctantly managed to tamp down your rage. But seeing Bai Yue still looking so utterly pathetic, you couldn't quite bring yourself to be angry anymore. You picked up a piece of fish, placed it in front of Bai Yue, and forced a gentle smile. Eat up, girl. Thank you, senior brother, Bai Yue said, brimming with gratitude. But this, my friends, reignited the fury in Empress Ling Shuang, who had just started to calm down. You two are sitting that far apart, and you're still gonna act all lovey-dovey right in front of me? This absolute pervert! She glared at you for a solid moment, her gaze suddenly hardening. Then, she blurted out, I want some too! As she said it, a slight blush dusted Empress Ling Shuang's face, but her eyes remained utterly resolute. This was a line she'd practiced for ages. And now that it was out, there was no way she was regretting it. Hearing that, both you and Bai Yue froze, stunned. Bai Yue didn't dare utter a word, quickly lowered her head, practically trembling. Bai Yue's internal monologue. I've long heard rumors that the Empress and the Back Mountain disciple had some secret thing going on. I didn't believe it then. But now, it looks like senior brother really does have an unusual connection with the Empress. Definitely not just a normal master-disciple relationship. A senior brother, as outstanding as this guy, truly deserves the Empress's affection. Thinking of that, a tiny pang of self-pity flickered in Bai Yue's heart. You were also startled. Bro, did I just mishear that? What's up with this woman today? Did she, chug the wrong elixir and decide to start drama again? But facing Empress Ling Shuang's unwavering gaze, you had no choice but to pick up a piece of fish and place it in her bowl. But Empress Ling Shuang still wasn't satisfied. I want to eat that part too. Right now, our girl Ling Kang wasn't high and mighty at all. Just a total pouting waifu. Bai Yue's head was practically in her chest, bowing even lower now that she'd stumbled upon such a horrifying secret. She was terrified of being silenced for good, but our boy, being the certified dense MC he is, had no clue why Empress Ling Kang was acting like that. This old hag is still trying to mess with me? Does she really think I'm some pushover? My dignity is absolute. Nobody disrespects me. So what if she's an empress? Worst case, I'll just suppress her. As this thought crossed your mind, your eyes sharpened like daggers, and your entire aura shifted. Even though you were still sitting, it felt like you commanded the very heavens and earth, head propped against the sky, feet rooted to the ground. No cultivation base, but that aura alone was utterly terrifying. Before your presence, even Empress Ling Kang felt like she was gazing up at an insurmountable peak. It was no longer a person in front of her, but a towering, unreachable mountain. The old demon in the pond, sensing your aura, snapped his eyes wide open, pure terror flooding them. He couldn't help but think, this punk Leon? He's actually become this terrifying? Who in the heavens managed to piss him off? Someone's definitely about to catch these hands. Hopefully it's some fearsome beast. I could still snag some blood, flesh, and soul for a snack. Even better if it's Ao Chong. That old dragon has been wanting to devour him for ages. Ao Chong, that dude, is the current Dragon Emperor, one of the most terrifying powerhouses in the entire realm. He's a true, top-of-the-pyramid existence. Da Huang, who was busy messing around with the Shui Mo, suddenly froze. Its eyes, now glowing with a savage light, sharpened like blades, and it let out roars that could shatter eardrums. Da Huang wasn't just some ordinary village mutt anymore. Nah, our boy had transformed into a fearsome beast, capable of suppressing even invincible foes with a single paw swipe. Good thing this terrifying aura was under your absolute control, keeping it contained to just the back mountain. Otherwise, it would have been enough to shake all of Dongshenzhou, forcing the entire world to notice you. At this moment, Empress Ling Kang's eyes were practically bulging with shock. This was the very first time she'd felt such overwhelming pressure. Facing you now was even more terrifying than facing that old demon in the pond just moments ago. Finally, you slowly opened your mouth. You eat what I tell you to eat. When did my territory become yours to run? Your voice wasn't loud, but it carried an undeniable, boundless authority. At this moment, you were a completely different person from before. Empress Ling Kang heard your words, and for a solid moment she could only gape, wide-eyed. The terrifying pressure, that voice, still echoed in her ears. Unconsciously, a strange, new glint flickered in Empress Ling Kang's eyes. Ever since she started cultivating the Tao, Empress Ling Kang had been hailed as the ultimate hope of her entire sect. Everyone treated her with reverent distance. And after she became empress? Pluffed, nobody dared to even think about provoking her. Their respect for her was boundless. Naturally, this cultivated Empress Ling Kang's high and mighty personality. She was totally used to being pampered. But now you were scolding her like this? Empress Ling Kang felt a pang of indignation, her beautiful eyes fixed on you. Yet, beyond the hurt, there was another, stranger feeling blooming. This absolute rascal! How dare he treat me like this? So why is my heart suddenly pounding like crazy? This feeling. It was strangely addictive. Even Empress Ling Kang herself couldn't believe it. No matter how hard she tried to suppress it, that forbidden thought just kept taking root and blossoming in her heart. Her eyes, which had been fixed on you, slowly shed their indignation. In their depths, a new, strange spark flickered. Then Empress Ling Kang opened her mouth. All right, fine, I'll eat. She was half excited, half flustered, her current state utterly baffling. Seeing Empress Ling Kang give in so easily, and with that look on her face, your anger instantly evaporated. That heaven-piercing aura you'd manifested also began to gracefully recede. You stared at Empress Ling Kang, utterly bewildered. Wait, what's up with this old hag? Why is she looking at me like that? You got scolded? And somehow got hyped? Bro, are you into that masochist vibe? The more you think about it, the more plausible it seems. Then you remember Bai Yue getting hyped over sharks, and you can't help but exclaim, holy SHT, what kind of weird fetishes are these? But honestly, it's kinda exciting. Thinking this, you clicked your tongue at Ling Kang Envdi. Hearing your subtle sound, Ling Kang Envdi's face flushed crimson as she bowed her head, popping a piece of fish into her mouth to chew. Every single one of her movements was still incredibly elegant, but internally, she couldn't help but replay your words, her eyes getting hazy, and her body even started to tremble ever so slightly. This lecherous pervert is truly too much, she thought. Fortunately, Ling Kang Enbadi was bowing her head, so her current state wasn't overly obvious. But that faint tremor still traveled through the chair, reaching Bai Yue. At this moment, Bai Yue literally wished she could just bury her entire head in her own chest, her heart hammering so hard it felt like it wanted to jump straight out of her throat. Don't see me. Don't see me. I know absolutely nothing, she chanted internally. Bai Yue muttered to herself, even squeezing her eyes shut tight. What was happening right now was truly too shocking for her fragile cultivation heart. Ling Kang Envdi, high and mighty like an immortal, a goddess in the hearts of all Tian Dao Sect disciples, was now revealing such a shyly excited appearance. For Bai Yue, this was genuinely a bit too much to process, because her bowed head and pressed posture only made her advantages stand out even more, looking like they were about to burst out and rip her robes apart. Yu accidentally glanced and couldn't help but inwardly exclaim, "Damn, that's fierce. Truly too heroic." Ling Kang Ingavdi was a little confused. She hadn't said anything, so why was she fierce again? But as she raised her head and followed your gaze, she instantly gritted her teeth. That fierce wasn't this fierce. This pervert, it's just 2 lumps of flesh, what's so special to look at? Even though she thought that, Ling Kang Ingavdi subconsciously puffed out her chest, just a little. "Stop standing there like a statue, hurry up and eat." Bai Yue hadn't even quite caught what you said before she hastily started explaining, causing both your eyes and Ling Kang Ingavdi's to immediately take on a strange look. Bai Yue instantly realized her blunder, burying her head even deeper into her chest. At this point, she literally just wanted to jump into a pond to cool off. And so, the meal continued in an utterly cringe-worthy atmosphere. By the time they finally finished eating, Bai Yue felt like she'd endured several lifetimes. She was finally liberated. Without another word, she started clearing the dishes and quickly declared, "Master, senior brother, you two just focus on your things. I'll handle this." The moment those words left her mouth, Bai Yue froze, then hastily tried to clarify, "I mean, you two have things to do." The more she spoke, the deeper she dug her own grave, now wishing she could slap herself twice. "This destructive mouth of mine," Bai Yue thought. Saying nothing further, she spun around and swiftly made her escape. Watching her retreating back, you couldn't help but shake your head with a bitter smile. This Xiao Shimei is excellent in every other way, just a little slow on the uptake. Kinda cute though. At this moment, Ling Kang Ingavdi suddenly raised her head, fixing you with an intense stare. "What's up?" you asked, having already decided you weren't going to spoil her anymore. Of course, you weren't about to be polite either, grumbling out a single, annoyed sentence. Seeing your attitude, Ling Kang Ingavdi felt utterly wronged deep in her heart. "Why is this pervert treating me like this?" she fumed internally. "Everyone else is cute, but I'm just an old hag now?" Indeed, Master was right, she concluded. But Ling Changnu Di wouldn't show it, desperately trying to maintain her high and mighty facade, the last shred of dignity she had left. "From now on, I'll be staying right here on this back mountain," Ling Changnu Di chimed in, muttering something under her breath. Your expression instantly shifted, and your voice shot up a few octaves. "How in the heavens is that possible? If this old hag actually stays, how am I supposed to live in peace? No way, I gotta stop her." "I don't agree. You spoke up." But Ling Changnu Di completely ignored you, scoffing coldly and saying, "I am the Empress of Tian Dao Sect. The entire sect is my decision. What right do you have to disagree?" After saying that, she shot you a chilling glare. Ling Changnu Di was right. Indeed, the entire Tian Dao Sect was her domain, and you were just a low-level chore disciple with a trash physique. What qualifications did you have to object? "My humble thatched hut isn't big enough for so many people," you said. Ling Changnu Di didn't waste another word, simply waved her hand, clearing an empty spot next to the thatched hut. Then, she pulled out a spatial artifact, placed it on the ground, and instantly, a new dwelling appeared, surrounded by lush greenery, incredibly elegant, and way more luxurious than your tattered hut. This old hag really came prepared, huh? You wanted to find another suitable excuse. But before you could even open your mouth, Ling Changnu Di had already turned and left. Having no other choice, you could only grit your teeth and accept it. Just like that, you suddenly had an unexpected neighbor. Fortunately, you still had your adorable junior sister, so it was somewhat tolerable. Ling Changnu Di, that old hag, is like a buy one get one free deal. Hearing this, Ling Changnu Di's eyes turned cold, her chest heaved, and she trembled with fury. "Buy one, get one free? I'm an empress. How can I endure such humiliation? With me here, don't even dream of achieving your intentions." After Ling Changnu Di had an idea, she immediately called out, Wei, come here." Hearing this, you gnashed your teeth. This old hag was clearly messing with you on purpose. Hearing Ling Changnu Di's voice, Bai Yue rushed out from the kitchen, still with water on her hands. Naturally, she didn't dare to delay. As she hurried past you, she quickly said, "Senior brother, farewell." Before you could even respond, Bai Yue was already out the door. In the blink of an eye, you were the only one left in the entire thatched hut. Even Dao Huang had run off to who knows where, nowhere to be seen all day. At this moment, Shui Mo and Dai Huang were on the back mountainside. Feeling the terrifying aura that Dai Huang had just unleashed, Shui Mo was genuinely astonished. Could this country dog actually be some kind of peerless, fierce beast? The more he thought about it, the more plausible it seemed. As the saying goes, when one person reaches Dako, even their pets ascend. For a terrifying existence like Li Yan, even the dog by his side definitely wouldn't be ordinary. Looking at Dao Huang's clueless expression, a golden light flashed in Shui Mo's eyes as he secretly began to scheme. Having such free muscle, he definitely had to make good use of it. The crimson twilight painted the entire sky, as if it were ablaze. As the twilight faded, a vast curtain of night slowly unfurled overhead, studded with countless stars. Bored, and not feeling sleepy, you carried a chair outside the door, grabbed some good tea, and poured in boiling water. The aroma instantly spread, filling the entire thatched hut. Vaguely, you could see Dagyo power swirling within the teapot, extraordinarily mysterious. You brought a cup to your lips, the tea's fragrance hitting your face. But after drinking it, you only found it insipid and bland. For stargazing and reading, wine is definitely better. Thinking that, our boy just flexed his hand, and boom, a jar of top-tier wine pops out. Before he even uncorked it, that intoxicating aroma was already hitting different. They say 1,000 cups with a true homie ain't enough, but right now, our boy couldn't even find one drinking buddy. He poured a cup, and down the hatch it went. That rich, spicy, potent liquor flooded his senses, even his throat felt the burn. Bro, the aftertaste was chef's kiss. Right then, our boy felt like he was living out some ancient poetry, raising his cup to the bright moon, all alone. Back in the day, when Dao Huang was chilling at home, he could at least get a few drinks in with him. But ever since that blood demon became his bestie, Dai Huang's been MIA more and more. Our boy couldn't help but wonder what that goofball dog was up to now. Just thinking about it, he poured himself another. Little did our boy know, Dai Huang was currently caravanning with the blood demon, zooming straight towards Tai Yi Men. Suddenly, he picked up some commotion outside, so he flexed his divine sense. And guess who it was? Bai Yue, out there practicing her sword. She channeled spirit chi into her hands, her longsword a blur of motion, dancing with her wrist. Her sword techniques? Absolute mastery, bro. Straight up fire. Bai Yue was seriously hard on herself. One wrong move, and she'd drill it 1,000,000 times, practicing until it was picture perfect. But even with all that, our boy was still like, nah, not impressed. With Bai Yue's swordplay, in the mortal world her skills would probably be considered god tier. But this, my friends, is immortal sword cultivation. Immortal cultivators seek intent, not just flashy forms. It's all about cultivating that sword intent, not just memorizing every single move and stance. Remember when Ling Changnu Di went up against Wu Tong Zhenren? She didn't even need to move much. Her heaven-shattering sword intent alone was enough to vaporize the dude. Bai Yue had been grinding for ages, yet not a single wisp of sword intent to her name. But hey, not surprising, right? She's got that innate misfit physique, literally born not to vibe with the grand dabalio of sword intent. So yeah, failing to cultivate it? Perfectly normal. Bai Yue was swinging that longsword like a madwoman. Whoosh, whoosh. In no time, she was absolutely drenched, bro. Finally, she stopped, gasping for air like she'd just run a marathon. Her clothes, drenched in sweat, clung to her perfectly, outlining. Well, you get the picture. Gotta admit, Bai Yue was rocking an angelic face with a devilish figure. But right now, pure disappointment was radiating from her eyes. Is my talent really this trash? She probably thought. 3 years on one sword technique. Thousands, even tens of thousands of reps, and still, zero sword intent detected. Pain. Suddenly, a wave of bitterness hit her, and her eyes started to well up. Bro was about to cry. Sword cultivation ain't like that, my guy. Bai Yue suddenly heard a voice and snapped her head up. Our boy. When did he even get there? He was just standing casually in front of the thatched hut's door. Senior brother, did I, totally interrupt your nap? She quickly recomposed herself, but Bai Yue's words still came out, all awkward and shy. Even with a forced smile, those puffy red eyes couldn't hide the raw emotion. Seeing all that, our boy felt a tiny pang in his heart. He decided. Alright, time for a little mentorship. After all, this was an innate misfit physique we're talking about. If she could just unleash its true power, it would be absolutely terrifying. Nah, it's cool. What time is it, really? The night's just getting started, you know? Hearing our boy drop that line, Bai Yue, despite having absolutely zero clue what he meant by nightlife, still played along and gave a bewildered nod. Senior brother, earlier I heard you say my sword cultivation method was wrong? Bai Yue was understandably confused. Across the entire Tian Dao Zong, heck, even the whole Dongshen Zhao cultivation world, the first rule of being a sword cultivator was comprehending sword intent, and the best way to do that? You guessed it. Sword practice. How could that be wrong? Bro, it's totally wrong. Our boy bluntly stated. This whole comprehend sword intent by practicing thing? For anyone else, sure, whatever. But for you, Bai Yue? Nah, fam, that ain't it. You've got that innate misfit physique, a born-to-dominate body. How can you be out here practicing all those flowery, delicate moves? Just do what I say, and then try again. Our boy laid it down. Bai Yue, however, just looked even more confused, eyeing him with a hint of hesitation. Hadn't she, Not heard what her fellow disciples whispered about our boy's reputation up in the Haoshan? A man with a complicated history with Ling Kang Nu Di? Yeah, he's basically a walking target for attention. And just like that, your true strength is getting exposed for all to see. 10 years in the sect and still stuck in body refinement? Bro's basically a normie. Even though she respected our MC, being schooled by someone seemingly weaker? Bai Yue was definitely not used to it. Still, Bai Yue decided to humor you. I mean, Master's a good guy, can't let him lose too much face, right? If you knew Bai Yue was only accepting your guidance, because she didn't want to hurt your feelings, how would that make our boy feel? Then our MC dropped some wisdom. Stop holding that sword like a AN00B. 2 hands. Grip it tight. Both hands on the blade, got it? Bai Yue was utterly bewildered. She seriously started questioning if this master of hers even knew which end of the sword was up. Swords are all about speed, power, and agility? 2 hands? That's basically just a clumsy cleaver stance, no? She'd never heard such nonsense in her life. What are you waiting for, still standing there dumbfounded? Hurry up! Seeing our boy's unwavering resolve, Bai Yue, resigned, reluctantly followed suit. Then our MC goes full drill sergeant. Turn sideways, legs spread, lean forward, puff out that chest, hands up. Each command made Bai Yue's face turn a scorching crimson. Sword training? Bro, this just feels weird. Super embarrassing, all twisted and awkward. As Bai Yue followed, with every move, her sizzling hot figure became even more prominent, molding into a perfect S-curve. Our boy, seeing this scene, couldn't help but gulp. Even if it wasn't the goal, he had to admit. Bai Yue's figure? Absolutely. Flawless. No cap. Busty where it counts. Slender where it slims. Perfectly sculpted. She's a walking masterpiece, an absolute treasure of the human realm. Meanwhile, Ling Kang Nu Di, chilling in her room, definitely caught all your thoughts. At this distance, nothing gets past her. She gritted her teeth, unleashing a furious curse. That detestable, perverted creep. Ling Kang Nu Di then shut her eyes, tossing and turning, utterly unable to catch a wink. She just couldn't shake the thought. What exactly was that perverted scumbag up to now? No way. Bai Yue's still just a young cub. How could she possibly handle that menace? I have to protect her. Period. The moment she thought it, Ling Kang Nu Di was off the bed, a flash of light, and she was hovering right above our MC and Bai Yue. Seeing that scene, Ling Kang Nu Di was a mix of mortified and furious. Yup, exactly as she expected. Nothing good happening here. Just then, Bai Yue, seeing our MC lagging on the next move, couldn't help but prompt. Master, what's next? Like, no offense, but I don't have high hopes for you, and this pose is genuinely too embarrassing. Bai Yue was seriously done. She did not want to continue. Our boy, giving her the full once-over, deadpanned. Your posture is still way off. Hard to get any results like that. Bai Yue was kinda stunned. This isn't standard? Bro, what is standard then? Her mind spiraling into wild imaginations. Bai Yue's face flushed an even deeper shade of red. With that, our MC took a step forward, ready to make the adjustments himself. A little more arch here, lower body back, legs shoulder width apart. After correcting, Hai Long nodded. Yes, it must be so. Meanwhile, Bai Yue was frozen stiff, not daring to move a muscle. This action was just too darn embarrassing. How could senior brother Li Yan be like this? A wave of grievance washed over her, making her wonder if our boy was intentionally messing with her. In the sky, Ling Chang Inv witnessed the scene, her composure nearly shattering, flames of fury erupting in her eyes. This perverted scum has no shame. If he did this to an elder, maybe, but to target a young maiden like this? He's lower than a beast. Even though Bai Yue had matured, wasn't she still just a young maiden in the eyes of someone as ancient as Ling Chang Inv? That's right. How could a Xian Tian Zhuo Tikai be cultivated like an ordinary person's body? Only this way of practicing swordsmanship is truly suitable. Your silent thoughts were overheard by Ling Chang Inv, who paused, slightly stunned. Could this pervert actually be helping Bai Yue cultivate? Though it was hard to believe, it seemed that was indeed the case. Why did this leecher suddenly change his ways? What Ling Chang Inv was thinking? You, of course, had no idea. At this moment, you spoke up. Alright, maintain this stance. First, slash 100 times. Though unwilling, Bai Yue ultimately had no choice but to comply, not daring to offend our boy. With each of her slashes, the sound of wind being torn apart echoed in the air. At first, she felt nothing. But after about 100 slashes, Bai Yue suddenly sensed something different. It was as if some shackles within her body had been unlocked. Streams of energy flooding through her 4 limbs and all her meridians, like she was soaking in warm water. All her previous exhaustion was completely swept away. Ah! The sudden, pleasurable sensation caused Bai Yue to momentarily lose control, letting out a short, soft sound, a gentle moan escaping her chest. Bai Yue herself was startled by the unexpected sound. Why did that happen? I didn't mean to. Senior brother Li Yan won't think I'm some indecent woman, right? Her heart pounding, she cautiously glanced at you, her eyes wide with panic, like a frightened little white rabbit. That sound alone was alluring enough. But coupled with those eyes, you almost broke your own defenses. This junior sister is simply too enchanting. Who could resist her in the dead of night? Isn't she practically begging someone to commit a crime? By now, Bai Yue was drenched in sweat, as if she had just stepped out of a sauna. Her garments clung to her body, revealing glimpses of her snow-white skin. Sweat trickled down her face, past her neck, and even deeper, as if even it couldn't resist the enchantment. Suddenly, your eyes widened, almost popping out of their sockets. What am I seeing? Is this really sword practice? Unprepared, it was the subtle glimpses, the hidden and revealed, that proved truly fatal. At this moment, Ling Chang NVD finally understood your intentions. Witnessing it firsthand, she felt as if she were experiencing the same scene. A blush rising on her own face. Truly shameless, she thought. After a long moment, you snapped back to reality, turning your head away. Keep practicing, you muttered. Bai Yue, completely oblivious to her own embarrassment, had finally made progress in her sword practice, and certainly didn't want to stop now. Towards you, Bai Yue no longer harbored any doubts. In fact, she even felt a pang of guilt. Senior brother Li Yan treats me so well, yet I doubted him. How could I have been so wrong? Now, in Bai Yue's heart, your image was practically soaring. Bai Yue calmed herself, then resumed her movements. After getting a taste of the results, she trained even more intensely, pushing the limits of every movement to maximize its effect. With every rise and fall of her sword, waves of power rippled outwards, the sheer fluctuations leaving onlookers absolutely dumbfounded. Even Ling Chang Nudi, witnessing this scene, couldn't help but sigh in awe, realizing she had some catching up to do herself. With every swing from Bai Yue, her aura gradually transformed, her seemingly delicate body now overflowing with boundless power. The movements of her sword swings were becoming less and less like actual swordplay. Seeing this, you nodded. The Xiantian body tempering path was limitlessly domineering. Why even bother with a sword? Bai Yue's expression grew serious, completely immersed in the rhythm of her swings. Ling Chang Nudi also sensed that Bai Yue was completely different now. Even she felt a dangerous aura emanating from the girl. Each swing became stronger, each movement smoother, as if she was racking up millions of reps. Eventually, the sword in her hand was almost being wielded like a mere stick by Bai Yue. It lost its sharp edge but gained an unstoppable momentum, like splitting bamboo. At this moment, it was as if a peerless beast was thrashing within Bai Yue's body, desperate to break free. Xiantian body tempering at great completion was truly like a savage beast, capable of tearing dragons and phoenixes to shreds with bare hands. By the very end, it seemed as if heaven and earth themselves were swayed by Bai Yue, the air growing thick and heavy. Within the pond, the Grand Dao celestial demon Xuan Wu opened its eyes, a look of profound shock flickering within them. After tens of thousands of years, such a terrifying physique had actually reappeared. Recalling the past, the old turtle was both terrified and emotional. Looks like those old farts have a new rival. Bai Yue was still swinging her sword, count 498, 499, 500. A massive explosion, as if heaven and earth were tearing apart. Within Bai Yue's body, some chains seemed to shatter, and an incredibly powerful shockwave erupted from her. A fierce wind howled like thunder cracking across the sky, yet Bai Yue remained entranced, still lost in her cultivation. But at this moment, her aura had undergone an earth-shattering transformation. One could visibly see faint wisps of Grand Dao power swirling around her, terrifying despite their subtlety. Ling Chang Nudi gazed at this scene, her heart filled with shock. She couldn't help but exclaim, "This is the legendary Xiantian body tempering, truly powerful." Seeing this, you, however, were completely unsurprised. Everything was proceeding exactly as you had planned. The number of swings and the training posture were all custom designed by you, based on Bai Yue's unique circumstances. Currently, Bai Yue had only just barely managed to activate the true might of Xiantian body tempering. Even so, it couldn't even be considered getting started, let alone achieving great completion. You simply opened a door for Bai Yue. She still had a very long road ahead of her. As the last of the energy dissipated, Bai Yue felt an unprecedented lightness throughout her body, and a spark of pure joy flickered in her eyes. She exclaimed excitedly, "I did it! I did it!" Her joy was mixed with a hint of bitterness. After cultivating for so many years, she'd always been seen as a useless disciple, pure fodder. Others comprehended sword intent in 3 days. yet she had trained for a full year with absolutely nothing to show for it. Bai Yue wondered. She had worked no less hard than anyone else. The only reason she hadn't given up, biting her lip and persevering, was due to the deep-seated conviction in her heart. The moment she looked up and saw you, Bai Yue couldn't hold back any longer. Her tears burst forth like a broken dam, streaming down her face. Bai Yue ran towards you, her tears trailing behind her like a continuous stream. Before your astonished gaze, she lunged straight into your arms. "Wah! Thank you, senior brother," she sobbed. "Wah! I'm so happy." Crying and laughing at the same time, Bai Yue couldn't even form a complete sentence. You could only feel the soft embrace and the maiden's scent filling your nostrils. At this moment, you were genuinely a little dazed. "Bro, this was too sudden. I wasn't prepared. What do I do now?" Such a comfy hug. But your hands, they weren't exactly idle, were they? One hand wrapped around Bai Yue's soft, slender waist, the other gently caressed her head. So tender, so full of kool-aid, affection, our boy was. Up in the sky, Ling Changnu witnessed this entire spectacle. Her face went cold as ice, teeth grinding. That horny bastard! That pervert! Worse than an animal! She took deep, shaky breaths, afraid she'd lose control and just palm strike him straight out existence. This scene was pure cringe. Bai Yue, still sobbing, choked out, Shixong, I still want to practice sword with you. The first half alone almost sent your jaw to the floor, didn't it? That forward, huh? Words have consequences, girl. But then Bai Yue finished her sentence, and you, our loyal viewer, couldn't help but feel a tad disappointed. Bro, don't blueball us like that. And Bai Yue, bless her heart, rubbed all her snot and tears right onto you, didn't she? Only when her tear ducts finally ran dry did she slowly snap back to reality. What did I just do? I got so emotional and hugged Shixiong. This is so embarrassing, she thought, feeling incredibly flustered. Bai Yue, completely at a loss, just kept leaning on you, her cute little face flushed crimson. Shixiong Lian is so warm, she mused. But just as that thought finished, she froze. That hand on her waist. Did it just move a little? What's Shixiong doing? Why is his hand moving even further down? Bai Yue's face erupted in a deeper shade of red. She quickly scrambled out of your arms, looking at you with a mix of shyness and reproach. Bro, that look was hypnotizing. Feeling comfy now, are we? You blurted out, not knowing what else to say. Our boy was grasping at straws for conversation, and that line just made Bai Yue even more mortified. She mumbled a quiet with her head bowed. Then came the agonizingly long silence, the air so thick with awkwardness you could cut it with a blunt sword. Finally, you broke the tension. I have a suggestion. Shixiong, please speak. Bai Yue, of course, didn't refuse. She now knew just how absurdly powerful this guy was. This dude couldn't possibly be just some regular body-tempering disciple. A few words from him, and she had already made such massive progress. I mean, he snagged Ling Changnu's heart, so how could he be ordinary trash? You can do this, you declared. A sword. It just doesn't suit your vibe. Think about it. Bai Yue nodded slightly. She hated to admit it, but she really didn't have any talent for the sword. And that chopping motion she just did, that was not swordsmanship, bro. So, Shixiong, what do you think I should use? Bai Yue looked at you, asking with utmost respect. Seriously, compared to Ling Changnu, you were starting to look more like the actual master here. A great mace, you slowly articulated. 2 words, spoken with utter conviction, yet so nonchalantly. A great mace? Hearing those words, Bai Yue, who had just managed to calm down from all that other stuff, felt her face erupt in a crimson blush once more. She bit her lip, eyes wavering, as if making the most momentous decision of her life. Then, she snapped her head up, her shyness momentarily eclipsed by an unshakable resolve in her gaze. I agree. Bai Yue forced the words out, as if they sucked all the energy from her body. Then, she closed her eyes, practically presenting herself for whatever fate awaited. All right, you nodded. From your system space, you pulled out a black, 1-meter-long, wolf-toothed great mace. Mysterious patterns coiled around it, exuding an undeniable, ancient, weathered aura. Bro, this was a top-grade divine artifact. Up in the sky, Ling Changnu felt the aura radiating from the wolf-toothed great mace and gasped internally. How in the hell does this pervert have so many divine artifacts? Divine artifacts that others would kill for, yet our boy just hands them out like candy, not even batting an eye. Beyond pure shock, Ling Changnu felt an imbalance deep in her cultivation heart. I clearly met him first. Why is he treating her so well? She shot you another look. Yo, you gonna try out this big stick in your hand? Hai Long nods, muttering, just the right size, as he slides it into Bai Yue's hand. Sensing the object, her heart practically explodes, nerves through the roof, eyes clamped shut even tighter. Gathering every ounce of courage, she carefully reached out to touch it, immediately freaking out so hard her soul left her body. Her lips parted ever so slightly, a silent "whoa" echoing in her mind as she gently caressed it. As she felt the sensation, Bai Yue found herself a little entranced, unable to stop her mind from wandering. "Senior brother, why is this big stick so different from the legends?" Just thinking about it made Bai Yue's breathing grow more ragged. Seeing her like that, our boy was also pretty confused. What's up with her? Why are her eyes still closed? This junior sister's never been the sharpest tool in the shed. But did she seriously cultivate herself into a problem? What should I do now? Our boy hesitated for ages before speaking up, clearly scared he'd say the wrong thing. I've already taken it out. You can open your eyes now. Bai Yue was initially planning to sneak a peek, but hearing our boy say that immediately shut down any such thoughts. It's already out? Senior brother, why are you so blunt about it? Even with her eyes shut, Bai Yue's blushing face couldn't hide her embarrassment. Good thing it was nighttime, so her expression wasn't too obvious. Seeing Bai Yue still frozen, our boy grew even more bewildered. Bro, I just gave you a weapon, why are you acting like this? Meanwhile, Ling Cheng Inv floating above was still fuming. Truly shameless. She clearly doesn't want it, but he just keeps shoving it into her hand. Does he really think his big stick is something so special? At this point, she's just straight up sour grapes mode. But seriously, what's actually wrong with this Bai Yue? Why is she acting just like that Ling Cheng Nv? Turns out, the rumors are true. Big assets, small brains. Hearing that, Ling Cheng Nv's eyes flashed with a mix of shame and, dare we say, a hint of excitement. That pervert, she seethed. But that description is undeniably accurate. As she thought this, Ling Cheng Nv subconsciously puffed out her ample chest, a tiny hint of pride showing on her face. Perhaps even Ling Cheng Nv didn't realize it herself, but ever since Bai Yue showed up, her feelings for our boy had seriously shifted. I said you can open your eyes now. Our boy finally snapped, his tone laced with impatience and not a hint of gentleness. I just told you to use the damn big stick. Why is this so hard? Hearing this, Bai Yue bit her lip, her face a captivating mix of shyness and internal struggle. Truly alluring. She secretly made up her mind, thinking, if senior brother really likes it, then I guess I'll agree. Decision made, Bai Yue hesitated no longer. Her eyelashes fluttered. Then her eyes slowly opened, clear as mountain springs, completely pure, as she finally lowered her gaze towards our boy. Bai Yue was still a little confused. Then, as she turned her head, she spotted the ancient, pitch-black Langya Great Mace right beside her. At this point, how could Bai Yue not understand what just happened? Her face, already crimson, now looked like it was literally on fire. Her heart hammered, completely out of control. It was like a herd of fawns stampeding through her chest. Recalling her earlier thoughts, Bai Yue just wanted to find a crack in the ground to sink into. So, my senior brother was talking about this big staff. I totally misunderstood him. My senior brother is such a good person. Yet I thought he was so wicked. How could I have been so wrong? So embarrassing. Why did I even think that? In Bai Yue's heart, our boy was truly a man of noble character. A true gentleman. After learning the truth, Bai Yue felt not only lucky, but also a little disappointed. Quick, try holding it. Your voice pulled Bai Yue back from her thoughts. She softly responded. Bai Yue nodded vigorously, and just as expected, another wave of intense sensations washed over her. This enchanting scene almost left you paralyzed. This little girl, why do I feel like she's deliberately seducing me? Those pristine jiggly bits just swaying in front of me. Who could resist? I seriously can't hold back. If our MC knew that Bai Yue had just elevated himself to a true gentleman, capable of sitting with a beauty in his lap without being swayed, he'd probably be super salty. Damn it, at least give me a chance, right? Sitting with a beauty in your lap and staying completely calm? Bro, you really can't do that. But with your cultivation level, maybe you could sit in her lap and cause some chaos instead. Bai Yue held the big staff in her hand, couldn't help but recall her earlier exclamation. So big, how embarrassing. She quickly steadied her mind, refusing to let her thoughts wander anymore. After that, Bai Yue took a deep breath and struck the pose you had requested earlier. Witnessing this blood-boiling scene, our MC couldn't help but suck in a cold breath. I just told you to try it, you don't need to be that serious about it. Looking at Bai Yue's serious expression and her prominent, curvy figure, he couldn't help but sigh internally. A junior sister this diligent? Who wouldn't love that? Meanwhile, high above, Ling Cheng Inv was like a volcano ready to erupt at any moment. Just one more spark, and she'd completely blow, surely setting the heavens ablaze. Ling Cheng Inv watched every scene below, constantly cursing in her heart. You lecher! You shameless beast. Finally, Bai Yue, utterly satisfied, returned to her normal posture. Her thin, silken clothes, which had just dried, were now soaked with sweat again. She stared intently at you, absolutely thrilled, her face filled with adoration. Senior brother, I truly love this big staff of yours. Initially, Bai Yue thought this wild, brutal thing couldn't possibly compare to a longsword. But after wielding it, she realized longswords were absolute trash. This big staff was truly the most suitable for her, and our boy wasn't surprised. Her innate divine body was naturally suited for the fierce and domineering path. Before her constitution was fully activated, it made sense Bai Yue hadn't realized it. Now that her innate divine body had revealed its power, she would naturally especially favor this type of weapon with immense destructive force. Our MC felt a bit confused. That line sounded a bit off. He collected himself, smiled, and nodded. As long as you like it, it's yours. Bai Yue wanted to refuse, but before she could even open her mouth, the absolute unit had already turned and walked away, stretching and yawning as he went. Seriously, today was just too exhausting, he mumbled. Bai Yue could only swallow the words she was about to say. Watching your retreating figure, a glint flashed in her eyes, and a smile finally curled at the corner of her lips. Senior brother is truly a good person. I like senior brother. But remembering the relationship between Ling Cheng and Di and him, Bai Yue began to hesitate once more. She grits her teeth and finally resolves, at worst, I'll just be senior brother's personal maid, the kind allowed to handle his giant club, of course. Bai Yue has zero idea. Empress Ling Cheng is watching her from the sky, struggling to hold back an uncontrollable impulse. Should I just invent some random excuse to kick Bai Yue back home? Empress Ling Cheng is seriously tempted, because every time she pictures Bai Yue hanging out with our boy, she gets hit with a wave of pure jealousy. By what right does that shameless pervert get to play with my emotions like this? Huffing in frustration, Empress Ling Cheng retreats to her room, tossing and turning all night while replaying every single interaction with our boy. Raging one second, giggling the next like a hopeless sunder. Where did her divine, untouchable Empress demeanor go? She never expected to be down this catastrophically bad for a guy. Meanwhile, Bai Yue is floating on cloud 9. Waiting until our boy's silhouette fully disappears before heading back to her room. Stepping into her prepared hot bath, Bai Yue slowly strips down and sinks into the wooden tub. Clear water reflecting jade skin with warm steam swirling around. The whole vibe is straight out of a fairy realm. Her mind is rent-free occupied by our boy. She remembers his every move crystal clear, reaching out to grab the spiked club resting nearby. Since this was a gift from him, she gently caresses and cleans off the sweat stains, using it to cope with her longing. Next morning, warm sunlight bathes the main hall, painting the world in a shimmering golden coat. Our boy steps out of his thatched hut and stretches, only to hear wind-slashing sounds. Turns out Bai Yue is out here grinding her weapon technique. Who knows how many hours she's been grinding. Soaked in sweat, she's still holding the exact stance our boy taught her yesterday. Every time she swings that heavy spiked club, homegirl locked in with absolute dedication, panting lightly with fiery determination in her eyes, hitting us with peak eye candy first thing in the morning. Sure, it's a top-tier view, but all look and no touch is pure torture for any guy. Man's gonna suffer down the road. Even though our boy already got a preview, gazing at those majestic double peaks still leaves him thoroughly impressed. A hardworking junior sister like this? Who wouldn't love her? Our boy caps to himself that he only likes her for her work ethic, definitely not for her assets. Overhearing his inner thoughts, Empress Ling Cheng instantly gets salty. She didn't sleep a wink all night, yet she's somehow raging with energy. Hearing his voice, Empress Ling Cheng instinctively mutters, "Scoundrel," but then remembers his words, her eyes flashing. "Oh, so you like weapon training? Like nobody else knows how to wield a weapon? Fine, if that's what turns you on, I'll give you a real show." Having made up her mind, Empress Ling Cheng swoops out of her room like a divine flex, landing gracefully right beside Bai Yue. Our boy was literally on his way to pull weeds in the herb garden, completely bewildered by Empress Ling Cheng's sudden arrival. What is this auntie up to now? Why does she look like she's ready to scrap? Who pissed her off this time? Empress Ling Cheng was already fuming, but reading his mind call her auntie officially sends her over the edge. She gets called cute junior sister, while I get auntie? The disrespect is unreal. Summoning her weapon with a wave of her hand, a sleek, snow-white longsword with blood-red tassels pops into her grip. This beauty happens to be Empress Ling Cheng's personal boundless imperial artifact. Dressed in pristine white with a splash of crimson, she grips her imperial sword, instantly summoning wind and thunder with a single flourish. Red and white sword flashes unleash like an absolute torrential storm, channeling rainbow sword. What's wrong with this old wife? She just suddenly started practicing her swordplay. Gotta admit, her sword skills are nothing special. But the woman herself? Top-tier eye candy. Finally, You've said something fair for once. Empress Ling Cheng already holds the title of the #1 beauty in the Eastern Divine Continent, so her looks are, naturally, beyond dispute. Absolutely kingdom-toppling, gorgeous. Calling her an old wife is just utter nonsense. Even though Empress Ling Cheng has cultivated for thousands of years, time seems to have left no trace on her. Plus, she's never experienced the matters between men and women. If you ignore her actual age, when it comes to male-female relations, Empress Ling Cheng is still basically a fresh-faced maiden. At this moment, Bai Yue froze, completely stunned by Empress Ling Cheng's swordplay. So beautiful, even heavenly fairies probably only reach this level, she couldn't help but gush. Unconsciously, a touch of inferiority blossomed in her heart. The Empress is so stunningly beautiful. No wonder senior brother Lian likes her. I'm afraid I don't stand a chance. I wouldn't even dare to hope he'd like me. Just being a maid by his side would be more than enough. Facing Empress Ling Cheng, who was as sacred as a heavenly immortal, Bai Yue once again felt a wave of inferiority. Even you, at this point, were staring blankly. With every graceful move Empress Ling Cheng made, the thin veil on her body fluttered, revealing glimpses of her jade-white skin. Her every motion accentuated her perfect physique. Ample chest, blossoming hips, truly enchanting hearts. You watched, sighing inwardly. What sword technique could possibly compare to the beauty of the person wielding it? Ooh, that move is solid, could definitely research new positions with it. But this one? Nah, not quite hitting the spot. Empress Ling Cheng, hearing your utterances echo in her mind, gritted her teeth. Her sword techniques instantly gained an extra few layers of sharpness. This absolute pervert! What gives him the right to treat me like this? What gives him the right to call her little junior sister, while I'm stuck as the old wife? And what gives him the right to shower her with divine artifacts, but then give me that thing? Boom! A final sword strike, soaring straight to the heavens, as if intending to tear a hole through the very sky itself. Empress Ling Cheng stood her ground, the blood sword still clutched in her hand, red lips slightly parted as she panted. Her usually neat hair was now subtly disheveled, only adding to her allure. A strange silence descended upon the air. Looking at Empress Ling Cheng's expression, you were genuinely bewildered. What in the world is wrong with this old wife today? Bai Yue, still wide-eyed, finally snapped out of it, took a step forward, and opened her mouth. Greetings, master. I never said I'd take you as a disciple, so there's no need to call me master. Empress Ling Cheng spoke, clearly still annoyed with Bai Yue. Even so, she held back a few scathing remarks, not wanting to fully unleash her inner thoughts. I don't have unruly disciples like you? Yes, Empress? Bai Yue could only meekly comply, bowing her head and staring at her hands. She truly couldn't fathom what she'd done wrong to displease Empress Ling Cheng. I mean, sure, she did have intentions of fighting for senior brother Lian, but she hadn't actually acted on it yet. Empress Ling Cheng nodded. Your cultivation progress last night? It was just okay, wasn't it? Recalling the events of last night, Bai Yue felt a pang of guilt. Sure enough, nothing could escape Empress Ling Cheng's all-seeing eyes. From now on, she'd have to be even more careful with everything. Then let me get a feel for what just okay truly entails, Empress Ling Cheng said, emphasizing those two words, just okay. She then continued, now, try to punch me. Punch? Punch her? Hearing Empress Ling Cheng's words, Bai Yue found it utterly unbelievable. Who even makes a request like that? Ling Kang Empress nodded. On one hand, she just wanted to test out those legendary moves you've been teaching. On the other, Ling Kang Empress also wanted to get a taste of that legendary innate divine physique. What's so unique about it, really? Go on, hit me with your best shot, kid. No holding back. Seeing Bai Yue not moving, she spoke again. You, hearing this, our boy secretly thought, bro, this Empress really has a thing for getting roughed up. One with violent tendencies, the other with masochistic tendencies. These two together? Talk about a power dynamic, wilder than any fanfic. Ling Kang Empress's beautiful face flushed crimson. She couldn't help but hurl, you absolute pervert. Then, remembering yesterday's spicy feelings, her embarrassment became even harder to control. This disciple will offend the Empress. With a sigh, our girl Bai Yue had no choice but to agree, striking that pose, you know, the one you personally taught her. At this moment, she felt this stance was the easiest for exerting her full power. Ling Kang Empress saw this, and couldn't help but inwardly mutter, shameless. Absolutely shameless for her to bust out that scandalous move. Bai Yue had no intention of holding back. In fact, she planned to use 120% of her strength. In her mind, even if she had made some progress last night compared to Ling Kang Empress, it was still like worlds apart, like a dumpster fire next to a supernova. If she didn't perform well, if she couldn't satisfy Ling Kang Empress, who knew? She might get yeeted to the back mountain. Taking a deep breath, Bai Yue adjusted her body state to its absolute peak. "Empress, your disciple is ready to throw hands. Come on, let's go," Ling Kang Empress said casually. She truly didn't think Bai Yue could even tickle her. Zero prep, zero worries. Bai Yue hesitated no longer. Her eyes immediately became resolute, and she forcefully swung her fist outwards. At such close range, space itself felt like it was about to glitch out and shatter. With this one strike, she used every ounce of her power, holding nothing back. The might of the innate divine physique was unleashed, almost making the very fabric of heaven and earth do a double-take. Only then did Ling Kang Empress feel the immense pressure from Bai Yue's fist. Her heart screamed in shock, finding it hard to believe. Wait, did a junior really just hit me with that? Absolute cap. Bro, it was too late for regrets. Ling Kang Empress could only hurriedly mobilize all her spirit energy, forming a shield before her chest, while simultaneously activating her protective armor. But she still wasn't at ease. This punch from Bai Yue was actually a legit threat. She had to take it seriously. HMPH. Bai Yue's fist connected with Ling Kang Empress, unleashing a boom that echoed across dimensions. At this moment, our girl Bai Yue looked less like a disciple and more like a primal beast in human skin. Ling Kang Empress used all her might to barely hold her ground, preventing herself from being sent flying. She only felt her blood and Q surging in her chest, almost coughed up a literal blood fountain. This innate divine physique is absolutely broken. Ling Kang Empress's eyes were wide with pure terror. Tian Dao Sect is gonna feast for 5,000 years with this cheat code disciple. But if this keeps up, I'll be irrelevant. Thinking this, Ling Kang Empress felt a deep sense of crisis. If Bai Yue actually surpassed her Empress, title would just be a fancy word for has-been. I must quickly recover my strength. But my inner demon backlash shredded my Dao heart. How am I supposed to get good now? In the end, she could only place all her hopes on you, the protagonist. Bai Yue was a little flustered, asking nervously, "Empress, you good? How's the vibe check?" she asked carefully, afraid of displeasing Ling Kang Empress. Hearing this, Ling Kang Empress's expression became incredibly strange. Bro, she couldn't exactly blurt out that you almost yeeted her to the afterlife, right? What kind of ancestor status would that leave her with? Ling Kang Empress could only compose herself, turn her head away, and utter, "It's fine, I guess." Hearing that, Bai Yue finally let out a sigh of relief. A flicker of hesitation crossed her eyes, but she eventually decided to speak up. Can I just, throw one more punch?" That last strike had given Bai Yue some kind of enlightenment, making her eager to seize the momentum. Plus, having Ling Chang NVD as a literal human punching bag perfectly satisfied our girl's robust cultivation methods. No way she was letting this chance slip. Ling Chang NVD heard that and almost blew a fuse, practically wanting to cough up a mouthful of blood. This unruly disciple, is she trying to take this empress's life? Of course, Ling Chang NVD couldn't exactly blurt out that thought. She faked a cough to mask her awkwardness, then casually dropped, "You're still way too weak. Hitting me again would be utterly pointless." And with that, she didn't even glance at Bai Yue. Ling Chang NVD just silently slipped away back to her room, terrified she'd expose herself if she kept up the act. Bai Yue heard that and secretly vowed, "Guess I gotta cultivate even harder from now on. Only then can I truly impress Ling Chang NV." Then, Bai Yue resumed her stance, continuing to swing the massive staff in her hands. With Ling Chang NVD gone, everything just went back to square one for you. Finding nothing else interesting to do, you turned to pull weeds from the medicinal patch. But in your mind, Ling Chang NVD's sword dance from earlier kept replaying on loop. Ling Chang NV die. Surprisingly, that old timer actually has some decent looks, you mused. Before long, you had finished weeding the entire medicinal field. The system's voice chimed in your ear. "Congratulations, host. You've successfully completed today's medicinal herb field weeding quest. Reward received. The Qian Kun Tian Dilu Alchemy Furnace." A spark of pure joy flashed in your eyes. For years, your rewards were always weapons and armor. But an actual alchemy furnace? This was a first. With a thought, you summoned the Qian Kun Tian Dilu from your system space and set it down on the empty patch of ground. This Qian Kun Tian Dilu stood over 3 meters tall. Even with 2 people, you couldn't wrap your arms around the whole thing. Just looking at this bad boy, you felt pretty satisfied. You secretly mused. Looks like when I have time, I'll need to pick up some alchemy knowledge. Then, you promptly stored the Qian Kun Tian Dilu away. Something that massive appearing out of nowhere? Way too much attention grabbing. After a quick hand wash, you headed into the kitchen to start cooking. Unlike before, now you had to prepare enough food for 3. You didn't even need to think. You knew Ling Chang NVD and Bai Yue would definitely show up to freeload. Before long, the delicious scent of cooking wafted out, its fragrance detectable even from a great distance. Bai Yue, looking a little embarrassed, slowly made her way into the thatch hut. After such a long training session, our girl was already absolutely starving. Smelling the food now? There was no way she could hold back. She was still wondering how to even start, but you beat her to it. "What's up? Come on, come eat." Bai Yue immediately broke into a radiant smile, chirping, "Thank you, senior brother." But since Ling Chang NVD still hadn't shown up, Bai Yue didn't dare approach the table. You both waited for ages, but still no sign of Ling Chang NVD. What's up with that old hag? She used to be super enthusiastic about meals. Just a bit of sword practice this morning. Did she cultivate herself brain dead or something? You couldn't help but mumble that out loud. Bai Yue, being proactive, went to call Ling Chang NVD, but all she got was a curt, "Not eating." Seeing this, Ling Chang NVD clearly wasn't in the mood to eat right now, feeling her blood and qi surge. She'd actually been injured by just one move from Bai Yue, even after falling from her previous realm. Her Dago heart was already damaged. Yet logically, a tiny cultivator from a lower realm shouldn't be able to hurt her. But nope. It was all thanks to that terrifyingly monstrous innate divine body. Inside the thatched hut, you watched Bai Yue eat with wide eyes and a dropped jaw. You'd barely taken a few bites, and Bai Yue had already inhaled an entire bowl of porridge. "Whoa, slow down." Seeing your strange look, Bai Yue blushed slightly, stammering, "Senior brother's cooking is just too good, I can't control myself. And it's normal. The innate divine body is super domineering, so its consumption is naturally huge to maintain its abundant blood and qi." You chuckled and said, "There's still more in the pot." Even if she felt a little embarrassed, she was truly ravenous. Bai Yue blushed and scooped a second bowl, then blushed again and scooped a third. Soon, her face wasn't red anymore, just a little embarrassed as she scooped a fourth bowl. Then no blush, no racing heart as she scooped a fifth. Only then did Bai Yue finally look at you with satisfaction, while you hadn't even finished your first bowl. Seeing her, you couldn't help but feel a bit awkward. "Bro, you eat too much. Even an innate divine body can't eat like this. Who's gonna feed this human black hole?" After they both finished eating, Bai Yue proactively washed all the pots and dishes, tidying everything up. You were getting ready to report to Tian Dao Sect, having completed your daily mandatory task of sweeping the mountain gate. After finding out, Bai Yue wanted to go with you. Initially, you didn't want to agree, but someone just wouldn't take no for an answer. Bai Yue pleaded multiple times, "Senior brother, please take me with you. I promise I won't cause you any trouble. Whatever you say, I'll do." With a coy, pleading tone, Bai Yue unconsciously took a step closer. Seeing this, you couldn't help but swallow hard. The distance between you two was already super close. You could even smell the faint, sweet fragrance on Bai Yue. Lowering your head, you could see two towering snow peaks, almost touching between you, their deep crevice vaguely visible. Seeing that scene at such close proximity, your heart hammered wildly, and you couldn't help but blush. Temptation. This was some next-level temptation, bro. Bai Yue also felt she might have gone a tad bit too far, but at this point, the arrow was already knocked. There was no turning back. She looked up, her pure face tilted towards you, eyes clear as water, and softly spoke, her breath fragrant like orchids. "Senior brother, can I come with you, please?" Her voice wasn't loud, but it sent a tickle through your heart. Bro, with this kind of temptation, who could resist? "Fine," you mumbled, nodding in agreement. Inside the room, Ling Chang NVD heard your inner thoughts and gnashed her teeth in fury. "You shameless, lustful pervert. I don't even know what words to use to scold you anymore." Both of them blushed furiously as they imagined the scenario. Not long after, you and Bai Yue arrived at the main peak of Tian Dao Sect. Since they were already here, naturally, they couldn't just stand around idly. You assigned Bai Yue a section of the stone steps to sweep. Bai Yue, of course, didn't refuse. She picked up the broom, her beautiful figure swaying gracefully on the stone steps, and with each sweep, she created, well, let's just say, waves. Just then, two figures suddenly appeared on the stone steps. Upon seeing Bai Yue, they were first stunned, then immediately became ecstatic. Bai Yue naturally saw them too, a fleeting look of panic in her eyes. "Long time no see, junior sister Bai. Why are you running around here?" One of them, Xin Long, spoke up, his voice clearly laced with malice, his eyes roving greedily over Bai Yue. "Your senior brother has been looking everywhere for you." The other dude chimed in. His name is Sun Zhen. Turns out these two already knew Bai Yue. See, way back when, all three were disciples under Taoist Guangwei from the Crimson Gold Sect. Qin Long and Sun Xian were big deals, total prodigies, highly favored by Taoist Guangwei. But Bai Yue? Nah, even with all her effort, her cultivation was basically dead last, which of course made her the Crimson Gold Sect's favorite punching bag. After 3 years in the sect, Xinlong and Sun Zhen were flexing their cultivation at the 7th layer of the martial realm. Meanwhile, Bai Yue was still chilling in the human realm blood revolving stage. Thanks to true person Guangwei's favor, Qinlong and Sun Zhen were basically kings of the Crimson Gold Sect, doing whatever they wanted. And guess who caught their eye? Bai Yue. With her alluring figure and youthful charm, they harassed her, like, a lot. Bai Yue was fuming, but dared not speak. Finally, she couldn't take it anymore, leading her to the back mountain to seek a new master. Even though our girl Bai Yue knew her strength had leveled up, facing Qinlong and Sun Zhen still filled her with dread. She took a few steps back, her face etched with horror. "What do you guys want?" Peeping those malicious gazes, Bai Yue knew immediately something was off. "Do what, you ask?" Xinlong stepped forward, his eyes practically gleaming with excitement at Bai Yue's distress. "Junior sister Bai, you should just come back to Crimson Gold Peak with me. I'll make sure you live like a queen every day, no need to suffer like this." With that, this creep slowly advanced on Bai Yue. Bai Yue's eyes welled up. She'd thought with our boy and Empress Ling Cheng her future was set, leaving the past behind. But seeing Xinlong and his lackey today, she realized some pasts just don't stay buried. "Senior brother, where are you?" In her despair, your image flashed through Bai Yue's mind. She wanted to scream your name, but then remembered Qinlong and Sun Zhen weren't just any chumps. What if you showed up and couldn't handle them? You'd be in danger too. Bai Yue frantically pushed that thought away, backing up incessantly, yet she could only watch helplessly as Xinlong edged closer and closer. "Go on, struggle." Xinlong's smirk widened, somehow becoming even more utterly punchable. "The more you struggle, the more I get off on it," he thought, certain he'd claim Bai Yue today. Wait, when did these two pieces of trash from the Heavenly Dafio sect even show up? Just as despair consumed her, Bai Yue suddenly heard a familiar voice. She looked up, and bam, there you were. In her eyes, our boy looked like he could hold up the very heavens. The pent-up grievances in her heart shattered, and tears immediately gushed out. "Senior brother, what took you so long?" At this point, Bai Yue couldn't care less about danger anymore. You were her greatest pillar of support. Just having you there, she instantly felt safe. Watching Bai Yue's tears fall like a summer shower, our boy couldn't help but feel that pang of pity. This pathetic sight? It was worlds away from the diligent, serious junior sister he knew last night. Our boy slowly walked up to Bai Yue, gently patting her head. "What's with the tears? Didn't I show up already? Cry anymore, and no babies for you, got it?" Bai Yue immediately sniffled. "Then I won't cry. No babies. If no babies, senior brother won't like me anymore." Even as she tried to rein it in, Bai Yue couldn't stop her sniffles. The humiliation was just too much. She finally looked up, her gaze landing on Xinlong and Sun Zhen. "Your eyes, our boy, turned arctic." "Who? Are you too?" The affairs of Crimson Gold Peak are none of an outsider's business. Hearing himself called trash and seeing Bai Yue's state, Xinlong's face turned absolutely foul. Before our boy could even clap back, Sun Zhen's eyes narrowed. "That name. It sounds too familiar." Muttering to himself, Sun Zhen suddenly got it. His body visibly trembled as he stared at you, eyes wide with utter shock. He leaned in close, whispering to Qinlong. "Senior brother Qin, that's Li Yan." "Li Yan?" Qinlong was confused for a second, then his entire body seized up, his face going pale. "You mean Li Yan? The good-for-nothing from Back Mountain? Turns out, your name was already blowing up across the entire Heavenly Dao Sect. Who didn't know about Li Yan? The Back Mountain handyman who somehow latched onto Empress Ling Cheng's thigh. Back when Ling Cheng Nudi first came out of seclusion, she gave a lecture at the main peak of the Tian Dao Sect. She said she'd summoned all the disciples, but before everyone could even get there, her Davio heart got messed up, so she just cut it short. So most folks only heard whispers about what happened with our boy that day, but they had no clue what he actually looked like. Now seeing the man himself today, how could Xinlong and Sun Zhen not be completely floored? Bro, this is the legend. The ultimate role model for every male disciple in the Tian Dao Sect. Qinlong and Sun Zhen exchanged a look. No way, they thought. It's him? Even though they whispered, our boy's superhuman hearing caught every word. Our boy's expression turned a little weird. Who the heck is Parasite King, he wondered. Who even dares to spread such blatant rumors? Our boy was internally annoyed, but he couldn't be bothered to explain anything to Qinlong and Sun Zhen. Once they knew our boy's true identity, those two clowns naturally didn't dare to act so arrogant anymore. Our boy alone? Pleft, not much. But behind him stood Ling Cheng Nudi herself. That's the real threat. The duo was just about to seize the chance to sneak away, but the second they moved, our boy's voice rang out. "Oh, you want to leave now?" With that, our boy took a step forward, his aura practically radiating menace. He'd made up his mind. These two weren't getting off easy. Did you even ask for my permission first? Qinlong and Sun Zhen's faces immediately turned grim. They couldn't believe our boy was this presumptuous. He's just a chore disciple. Without Ling Chengnu backing him up, what even is he? They thought. Our boy didn't give a damn what they were thinking. Just as he was about to make his move, Bai Yue gently tugged at the corner of his robe from behind. By now, Bai Yue's tears had completely stopped. With our boy here, all her previous fear had vanished, and her face even flashed with an unexpected hint of excitement. Senior brother, I want to give it a shot, Bai Yue declared, standing up. And out of nowhere, a massive staff materialized in her hands. Seeing Bai Yue's determined look, our boy could only sigh, nod reluctantly, and step aside. Our boy glanced at Qinlong and Sun Zhen, a look of pure pity in his eyes. Oh, you poor fools. Fall into her hands? You're gonna have a bad time. But those two idiots? Nah, they weren't thinking that at all. Seeing Bai Yue ignorantly charge forward, totally unaware of her own strength, they exchanged a look. A plan had already formed in their minds. That Ling Yan guy? Sure, he's got Ling Chengnu as a terrifying backer, so we can't touch him, they thought. But her? A total loser who can't even cultivate sword intent? Please, why would we be scared of her? Qinlong wasn't scared in the slightest. Not only did he not retreat, he actually stepped forward. Gripping his longsword, spirit energy surged into the blade, and sword chi erupted with a fierce blaze. Bai Yue, however, ignored all that flashy show. She swung the massive staff in her hands with raw power, aiming directly for Qinlong's head. Qinlong, brimming with confidence, was ready to use his 4 ounces deflecting 1,000 pounds technique. Boom! The scene he'd imagined? Totally non-existent. Qinlong's mighty longsword, under Bai Yue's staff, was instantly pulverized, like it was made of cheap paper. After snapping the sword, the staff's terrifying momentum didn't even flinch. It slammed directly into Qinlong with an utterly unstoppable force. Qinlong felt nothing but excruciating pain. He crumpled face first to the ground, utterly unable to move, his eyes wide with pure horror. What in the cultivation world just happened, he thought. Is this still the same Bai Yue who couldn't even begin to comprehend sword intent before? He managed to lift his head, only to see Bai Yue's expression. A chilling smile played on her lips, and her eyes? They actually gleamed with excitement. Who could have possibly guessed that beneath that pure, innocent, adorable exterior lurked such a terrifyingly violent soul? Bai Yue stared down at Qinlong, a soft, sadistic laugh escaping her lips. Go on, struggle, she purred. The more you squirm. Qinlong, initially hyped, never in his wildest dreams expected such an outcome in the blink of an eye. Looking at Bai Yue at this moment, her eyes glinted with an almost disturbing excitement. Qinlong was utterly terrified, screaming internally, Bro, what in the cultivation world are you trying to pull? Damn it, this ain't the Bai Jr. sister he knew. Give him back his sweet, innocent Bai Jr. sister. Sun Zhen, who was beside them, had long been scared sht less. Throwing all caution to the wind, he turned and bolted. And Qinlong? Bro, that's a him problem now. You thought about stopping her. But before you could even react, Bai Yue had already moved, closing in on Sun Zhen in a few explosive steps. Her eyes flashed. Without a single word, she swung her massive club straight down onto Sun Zhen's head. That strike made Sun Zhen's hair stand on end. His soul almost left his body right then and there. Is Bai Yue seriously trying to end me? If that hit had landed squarely on his head, Bro's skull would have been reduced to a fine mist. Sun Zhen desperately ducked his head, barely dodging the colossal club as it smashed into his shoulder, sending blood and gore flying. Sun Zhen howled in agony, writhing on the ground as cold sweat poured down his face. From the moment Bai Yue struck to the end of the skirmish, it was all over in mere minutes. In the eyes of Qinlong and the others, that helpless little lamb they initially saw had somehow morphed into a flesh-eating tiger. At this point, their minds were absolutely blown to smithereens. What the heck, you're this strong? Why were you pretending to be pitiful just now, you absolute menace?